It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, and hell yes, that's the Talking Heads. Take me to the river. Oh, man. That song gets me going. I have two very specific things that flood my central nervous system when I hear Talking Heads Take Me to the River. The first is I always think it's Friday. It's the weekend. That song kicks off the weekend for me, and I'll tell you why. In the fall of 1983, I started a 3-year policy where I was wasting a perfectly good Pell Grant while pretending to be a college student. And I moved into a dorm at Western Kentucky University, and on my floor, which is the 25th floor of this giant high-rise tower.
My God.
Yeah, 26-story dorm at a school with only like 10,000 students. It was insane. And it's the tallest building literally for 50 miles. It's hilarious. On my floor, there was a guy who had a stereo that was the baddest rig in the whole dorm. And every single Friday at noon, he played that song at full volume. Every single Friday at noon, you heard...
Didn't have any jocks in the building that could beat the crap out of him?
No, it was awesome. It was his little way of saying, it's Friday, boys. Let's have a good time. And it took only 2 or 3 weeks before I realized, like, oh, wait, this is every Friday at noon. And I never, any Friday at noon that I was in the building, I heard it. I don't think he ever missed a Friday. And so it just set me in a great mood, and it still does it to this day. On the other side of that, in 1986, I had a freak basketball accident where I broke not one, but 2 of my 2 arms.
All of your arms?
All of them. Every damn one I was born with. My right wrist and my left elbow started the day fine and ended the day in casts. And as I was leaving the hospital with 2 broken arms, and it was Memorial Day Monday, got in the car with my brother, and he turned his car on, and that song started almost immediately on cue. And I was like... this is not the way I like to hear this song. and those 2 things always come back to me. I hear Take Me to the River, and I'm like, it's Friday, and I got broken arms. It's Friday, and I got broken arms. It's just stamped in my damn brain.
The dichotomy of life, isn't it? The yin and the yang.
It's how, music just works its way into your central nervous system. I can never shake either one of those things. I enjoy the song. I mean, I was literally sitting here. I got my headphones on. I turn it up louder than I should have music on ever, much less at 6 a.m. And I love that song so much. But then at the same time, I'm like, and I had 2 broken arms. But it was Friday, and I had 2 broken arms. But it was Friday. It never stops. It just goes and goes and goes. That's the magic of me.
You're special.
Magic of music, yes.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I've told that story a bunch over the years, and it never gets any less ridiculous. Spending a summer with 2 broken arms after a freak basketball incident. You know how many times when you have both arms in casts, the number of people who say, car accident? It's everyone. Every single person you see, because they don't assume a 21-year-old seemingly healthy person. They don't think you fell. You didn't fall down the stairs. You didn't get beat up and get broken arms.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's first thought, car accident? And after a while, I was like, yep.
Yeah,
that's right. Sure.
Sounds good.
Sure thing. Yeah, car accident. And now because it's summer and my arms are itching all day, every day, because it's humid as hell every day. Take car accident, fine. Combine accident, why not? Plane crash, yep, I got the whole damn thing.
Right, and still managed to rescue everyone from the fiery crash with 2 broken arms. Very impressive.
Not just everyone, they were orphans, so that made it even more special.
Right.
That burning orphanage didn't stand a chance with me in town.
Yeah, I love it. You know what? How did you, no high-fiving that summer.
Not a high five to be found at a time when I was high-fiving. All I did was play basketball. As I said, pretending to be a college student.
Yeah.
And there were high fives galore in my life in the summer of '86, I can assure you.
It's a National High Five Day. Did you know that? We haven't gotten a high five out of anyone today. We'll have to get high five. Yeah. And then there was the high 10. Then it was give me some skin. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was a high five down low. The low 5 and the low 10. There's a whole history behind this thing that, these days pop up. I see, it's National High Five Day. And then there's a history to it. How did it start? Where did the first high five start? When did it happen? Well, We think we know. We think we've traced the origin of the high five, and we're coming back with that at 6:17. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. If you watch a movie or documentary footage from the 50s, 60s, up until about 1977, 78, you see athletes giving each other five. In the old day, hey, give me five. It was down low.
Yeah,
down low
down here, yeah, right.
And it's funny now to see like NBA footage from '74, ABA footage, college basketball. You see like Bill Walton run over to a teammate, and it's just give me five. It's a low five, and it's so odd because when the high five happened, it just obliterated the low five. The high five became the way to give five.
Changed the world.
And apparently today is National High Five Day. And Zepp, as you alluded, a lot of people out there sleuthing, trying to figure out who invented the high five. And there are several stories I always heard along the way, but you've got one that apparently there is some backing on this one. So who is it? Who do we bow down to and say thank you for the high five?
Well, ESPN did a 30 for 30 short on it some years ago, and it's just sort of become the definitive origin of the high five. It goes to Dusty Baker, actually, his old teammate Glenn Burke. They were playing for the Dodgers in 1977, and they smacked hands during the last game of the season on October 2nd. Dusty fairly humble about it, however.
No, I didn't invent the high five. All I did was respond to Glenn.
And on the on-deck circle was Glenn Burke, the excited rookie. Glenn put his arm high in the air, and Dusty wasn't sure what to do, so he slapped it.
You can go anywhere around the world, and people know what that is. Everyone wants that moment, and the high five made it accessible to everybody. When you look at how it's changed the world, and it's a universal symbol for all of us to share.
Sometimes you don't know why you do some of the things you do, especially when you're extremely happy. You just respond to each other.
Yeah, with a high five.
That's it. See,
I mean, yeah.
But the first high five that broke around the world that I knew was Magic Johnson while at Michigan State. He and his teammate Greg Kelser. They brought the alley-oop into the game. They made the alley-oop normal. Like before 1977, when Magic got to East Lansing, and passing the ball towards the basket and having a teammate grab it and dunk it, that didn't happen. I mean, it happened very rarely and almost never by design. And then Magic and Greg Kelser started putting it into the game, and suddenly everybody was alley-ooping, and then they were high-fiving. And everybody gave them credit. I remember that very clearly. Like, oh, they've got this new way of slapping five. And as a 7th and 8th grader, boy, you've never seen anything more awkward than a bunch of just dorky little kids trying to high five on a basket. We could barely play the game. We couldn't run straight. We couldn't chew gum and tie our shoes at the same time. And we're trying to high five, and we were just bashing each other, elbows to the faces. We were missing on high fives.
You guys sucked.
Yeah, we were terrible.
Elbow to the face.
Hey, I kid you not. My school. My high school basketball team, before I got there, like when I was in middle school, we were literally the worst team in the state of Kentucky.
The Bad News Bears, man.
Yeah. And high fives was out of our realm. But then Magic Johnson took full credit for the high five. But then all these volleyball players were like, hold on, we've been doing that for years. Like when
it's very controversial.
Yeah,
that's why I won't do it.
These are.
It's polarizing, It's like people get pissed off, things are thrown at you. Mm-hmm. It's divided America. Never mind, don't high five anymore, anyone. Seinfeld, he didn't like it. Remember that he did a whole episode on it.
All right, classic. High five. He keeps asking me to give him a high five.
I'm a salesman now. The high five is just so stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Listen, all I'm going to say is this. Somebody listening to this show right now is thinking about their next high five. Here's a tip. Look at the other person's elbow, not their hand. The brain automatically connects, knows where your hand needs to be. You'll make better contact. Just stare at their elbow, and it works every time.
I tried to give Chauncey a high five this morning, and he denied me.
Listen,
can he go high five above his head?
No.
It's got to go above the head or else
Probably
it's skin
why.
if it's down
I shouldn't
low.
take it personally.
Probably not.
The man has a cast on his leg, and you're trying to get one of his 3 working arms to give you a high five.
To see him fall on his face. There's nothing worse, by the way, than the Dumb and Dumber missing the high five. Oh,
it's terrible.
When oh God, that was the worst. I remember you'd come off the football field and they'd be coming in, and you just made a play and you missed the high five. It's like the play never happened. It negated the play. There was nothing to brag about because all anyone's going to ever remember is you missed on the high five.
Mm-hmm. I got a buddy who has spent literally 40 years intentionally blowing every greeting hand gesture. If someone puts a high five up, he goes mid-range or low. And then if they go low, he goes up. And then when they switch, he switches. It's perfect. If they go for the fist bump, he wraps his hand around their fist like it's rock, paper, scissors. And then he goes, oh, fist bump. And then he puts his hand out. I've watched him do this 1,000 times, and it never fails to. It just kills me every time. It's incredible.
Yeah, we had a buddy in the Army. We had a volleyball team, pretty good volleyball team in the Army. I think we won our brigade or whatever. But he would, every time someone would try to give him a high five, he'd smack you in the nuts. So he didn't do that very often. He'd give you the tap.
Oh God.
Yeah, not cool. Not cool.
The nut tap thing, man. Come on.
Yeah, the nut tap.
That's the worst.
Not cool. It is the worst. I know for some reason that was going around in the 1980s in the Army. Everybody was trying to hit each other in the nuts. It was, it's you don't. Your best and your brightest don't often end up as grunts in the Army.
Well, going back to basketball, every high school's got the head coach, and then you've got the cool assistant coach, who's a younger guy, and he's the one who tells you how to cheat. You know what I mean? Like, hey, so it was our assistant coach who would say things like, "Hey, stop clipping your nails. Just have your fingernails as long as you can stand it. It'll come in handy. You'll be scratching people going for rebounds." And then he also showed us very clearly how when you're dribbling the ball and let's say picture you're in a tuck squat and tuck position. You're kind of squatting down. You're dribbling with your right hand. You got your left hand extended to keep the defender away. That hand, it's real easy to backhand the defender's nuts. Like, this is how you do it, and no one will see that you did it. It looks unintentional. And we literally had a day where our assistant coach was running us through nut tapping drill to try to and most of the time it doesn't work, but it only takes that one magic moment when you connect just right. And as any man swinging a bag of nuts knows, you don't have to hit them hard. You just got to hit them just right. And
just to tap a little contact, or even just sometimes the threat of the contact, throws you off. And it's always surprised me that as soon as we could possibly get rid of the nut cup, we got rid of it as athletes in school. Somewhere along the line, there was the cup check. You come by and knock on the cup to make sure that you were wearing it in Little League Baseball. That's where I remember it first. You had to have your nut cup on. But as soon as we could get away with not wearing it, no one was checking, we got away with it, which always surprised me because, the last thing you wanted to do was get hit in the nuts.
The absolute last thing. It's
the worst. I had my left nut size up to the size of a grapefruit because I took a hopper on the pitching mound there, right to the left nut, and boom, down I went. Yeah. Did I even wear a cup after that? No, I was back on the diamond in like a week or so. No cup.
Rough, man.
No cup. I don't know. Now we're back to bad injuries. Now I'm back to thinking about your broken arms and our very tender nuts. How did we get there? We're supposed to be talking about high fives.
Yeah, but as a kid who grew up on a farm and then was in the Army, you got to have an injury checklist.
Oh my God!
I imagine there's like when you have that moment, like in every bad rom-com, where'd you get that scar? You got to have a few.
Oh, I was thinking you were talking about breaking your arms. I don't know if you get scars as a result of that, but I've got a couple of doozies, and they're always stupid. I've got a big, long scar down the middle of my back, and that was because I was driving my dirt bike along a barbed wire fence, and I hit a gopher hole, and boop, I just went right through the barbed wire fence.
Oh, God.
Didn't even know till I got home I had a T-shirt on. And you know what? It was really just a scratch, but it's left me with the gnarliest scar down the middle of my back. People are like, oh, my God, what happened to you?
Yeah.
And then you say motorcycle accident, and they go, oh my God, wow, I'm lucky you're alive. Was your spine exposed? I'm like, no, it was just a scratch from a barbed wire. But, sometimes those scratches can produce a pretty nice scar.
Candace, any scars?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
But
It sounds like you're debating on whether or not you want to share.
Well, I have had a couple of things happen to my chin. I just don't think I have time to tell you right now. I think you'll have to stay tuned.
Oh, we can come back to this. We can talk bodily grievous injuries and scars. Sure.
Yeah, I have a scar I call the Candace scar. It's my most embarrassing scar ever. I now call it my Candace scar, and I will explain it. But we do have to get along. We have sports and music history coming up. We have Mike Evans' Hollywood trash coming. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Thursday, April the 18th. Good Morgen, as they say somewhere in the world. Mike Evans is out in California, and right now it's time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning, KQRS. The Timberwolves, man, they're making it kind of nervous time watching every game. Boy, it's going to be great going right down to the end. Good morning, Steve and Candace, Tony, Zep. And a reminder, this report brought to you by Marcus Theaters. Tomorrow is Movie Review Friday, so we'll have some new movies you'll want to check out at Marcus Theaters. And don't forget, every Tuesday at Marcus Theaters, $6 gets you into any movie. I got some big news about some big directors today, starting off with Martin Scorsese, whose next two big budget movies are The Life of Jesus, followed by a biopic called Frank, which will tell the inside story of Frank Sinatra. And Frank is going to be played by Leonardo DiCaprio. Jennifer Lawrence will play his wife back then, Ava Gardner. Man, this sounds absolutely fabulous. A Sinatra sidebar, I always found this fascinating. So Frank Sinatra was very, very close to his mother, Dolly Sinatra, who lived at his various homes in L.A. and New York and Palm Springs. Well, while she was in Palm Springs, Dolly was 80 years old, still in great health. She wanted to fly to Los Angeles for a Tommy Burger, the great L.A. burger chain, Tommy's. Afterwards, pick up a couple of her old girlfriends and then fly over to Las Vegas. Well, Frank said fine, contacted his pilot of his Learjet, told her to take the Learjet from Palm Springs to L.A. and then into Vegas. But just 10 minutes after lifting off from Palm Springs, the jet hit the 10,153-foot San Gregorio Mountain, killing all on board. Frank and Dolly were always very close in life. Frank and Dolly are still very close. They are buried next to each other in Palm Springs. More about directors now. Next, Ridley Scott promises that Gladiator 2 is going to be better than his original Gladiator. Wow, that starred Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix, was made way back in 2000. Neither Russell Crowe or Phoenix will be in the new one, but I hear Denzel Washington has the biggest part in the movie. Release dates, Thanksgiving. Steven Spielberg produced, not directed, produced the film called Twister, coming out in July, about the biggest tornado in history, and has some surprises that you won't see coming. He will then direct an untitled UFO sci-fi movie, Steven Spielberg. And finally, 93-year-old director Clint Eastwood has just wrapped Juror Number 2, about a man on trial for murder. But Juror Number 2 knows something nobody else knows and could change everything in a big way. Stars Nicholas Hoult, J.K. Simmons, Kiefer Sutherland. Release date is Christmas. Sadly, this will be Clint's final movie. Movie reviews tomorrow and maybe a TV shocker. Have a great day. Talk to you then. Mike Evans. See ya.
There's the Mike Evans Hollywood Report. A follow-up to Twister. It's actually called Twisters with an S on the end. Trying to think about whether I ever saw Twister. I've seen scenes from it. I remember. I don't think I went and saw the whole thing ever. Is it good?
Scary. It scared me when I was a child, but it's probably really stupid.
Well, I mean, as an adult, I think right away the first thing we all thought was, no, you don't get to hold on to a pipe. Well, a twister, literally, you're straight out, hold on to the pipe. It was just I mean, I like the concept of it. Storm chasing was just coming on. It was turning into a thing. But there just were some things in the movie that were a little unbelievable, like the fact that this F4 tornado, one of the big ones, came through, and I think it was Helen Hunt that was just hanging onto a pipe.
Sure,
you know, those kind of things. A little bit silly, but yeah, it was a huge blockbuster, the big movie that year.
Also as bizarre as Castaway, wherein they want you to think Helen Hunt is an object of affection. And is in any way hot or interesting.
You know, it's the movies. You have to, the suspend belief, I guess.
I give Helen Hunt all the credit in the world for having the career she had. She's just literally the girl next door. Blows my mind that she was cast in movies where she's like, oh, she looked amazing. And I'm like, really? Okay, good for her.
I just mentioned Jennifer Lawrence as Ava Gardner. Now, Jennifer Lawrence is a very obviously super talented actor, but as Ava Gardner? I don't know about that. I've watched a couple of documentaries. I have this really weird old crush on Ava Gardner. I don't know if Jennifer Lawrence, but that, and she's acting with Leonardo DiCaprio, will be playing Sinatra. She just came out and said that Leonardo DiCaprio drives her crazy, maybe in a good way. Money talks.
Yeah, Ava Gardner was that. Yeah, oh boy.
Something else.
Yeah,
ask Frank.
No kidding. She was something else. I'll tell you something else. How about a quick look back? April 18th, 1977. On this day, Eddie Murray of the Baltimore Orioles hit his first career home run. Who cares? Me. Eddie's my favorite of all time. Yeah. Steady Eddie. everybody I meet goes, oh, Orioles fan. What do you must love Cal Ripken. I go, nope. And they go, oh, Jim Palmer, Brooks Robinson. No, Eddie Murray. Yeah. That's the man. For the sideburns alone, he's my favorite Oriole.
You mentioned the mutton chops. That's what I remember from the baseball cards. Yeah, he was rocking those, wasn't he?
Oh, Eddie was and will forever be, to me, the man. On this day in 1999, I mentioned a few days ago, Wayne Gretzky in 1999 had announced his retirement. It was on this day that he played his final game. He did score his 2,857th point in that game.
That's crazy.
2,857 points. The second player on the list in history is Jaromir Jagr with 1921. That's a difference of 936 points.
That's a Hall of Fame career. Just the difference.
I was going to say, if you score 936 points in your career, you're one of the top 100 players of all time.
Yeah.
That's the difference between number one and number two all time. Come on, man. It's Wayne and everybody else.
If you tacked on a Hall of Famer on top of Jagr, then you're getting into that rarefied air of the great one.
Completely insane.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Thursday, April the 18th. Good morning, everybody. Tom Petty's Free Fallin' from Full Moon Fever, of course, an album that he originally played for his label, and they said, "No, we don't hear any hits," which just goes to show, don't trust people who wear ties to work. I mean, it's just that simple, really. Hey, we were talking earlier in the show. I mentioned the fact that I had I suffered on Memorial Day 1986 a freak basketball injury is the best way to describe it, where I broke both of my arms. And as then Zepp alluded, but you were saving children, weren't you? You got everyone out of the fire. The reason is our dumbest moments are the moments that scar us both emotionally and physically. We never look back. There's never a heroic strain. It's always the dumbest thing imaginable. Man. We've all got the dumbest scars. I've got one I'll share in a moment, and it involves 5 nickels and a good humor truck. Oh, boy. But before
Sounds
that...
like a joke.
No, before that, and before we hear Zepp's greatest scar story and the reason he has named one after our friend Candace Wheeler, we do have a caller on the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. Candace, who is on the horn?
Yeah, we have a couple cool cats checking in from Egan this morning. The first is Rick.
Rick, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
What's happening?
You guys doing?
We're great, brother. What do you got for us?
Oh, well, I've had 3 open heart surgeries, and they got the scars to show it. This is the old way, open up the chest.
Yeah,
do they use the same? Do they use the same incision, or do you get a new scar for each surgery?
Oh, you you get a new scar, but they're pretty close. And I don't know if they use the same wires for the sternum, but it shows in the X-rays.
That's when you're breaking the sternum open. That's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm still kicking. My first ones were done when I was 45 years old in 1998. Had two the same year, and then I had my third one in 2001, right before the 9/11.
Oh boy! Well, Rick, you are still kicking, and I'm glad to hear that. Three times, third time must have been the charm. I'm happy to hear that we cut the number that we stopped after 3.
Would you attribute these to women in your life?
What's that?
I said, would you attribute these heart failures to women in your life, broken hearts, that sort of thing? Had to go in and patch her back together? Are you a hopeless romantic, Rick?
Oh, yeah, I'm very hopeless romantic, believe me. Candace said only one set of scars, but in 2019, I had brain surgery, craniotomy, so I got the scars in my skull. I had a hematoma, bleeding in the brain.
Rick, man.
I don't want to tell my scar story now.
Been through the ringer, brother.
Yeah.
Well, listen, like we said, keep on keeping on. I'm glad to know you're still with us, my man. But we got to bounce, Rick. We always appreciate hearing from you. Take care, brother.
Sir. Okay.
Thanks,
Love
Rick.
you guys.
Man, I mean, yeah, we're sitting here telling like ridiculous. How stupid am I?
Mine.
And Rick is literally like, 3 open heart surgeries. Yeah, check those off.
He wins
brain
at the
surgery?
bar. You know, when you're at the bar telling the scar stories, he wins. Rick wins.
Man, no kidding. All right, Candace, who else have we got on the horn?
Brian from Egan.
Brian, good morning.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
We're good. What do you got, brother?
I was when I was younger, we were playing a game called Catch 500. Where you hit a ball up in the air.
Yeah,
sure.
My neighbor one of the neighbors had the old Y metal fence posts up, like you hang just a square fencing from.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're playing Catch 500, and ball goes up in the air. We're running for it. Someone pushes me from behind, and one of the corners of that fence post catches my chest. And tears it open about 10 inches. Bleeding all over the place.
Yeah.
And the funny part is my brother used to work for Jolly Green Giant, so I had on a dark green sweatshirt that said "ho ho ho" on it.
Oh my gosh!
Went to home to show my mom and never went to the hospital. She just put a poultice on it, and that was it.
Wow.
No,
man.
Your mom was my dad.
Yeah.
You're not going
so
in.
When I started dating my wife, I told her it was from a knife fight.
Of course you did. Sure you did.
You're so brave.
Man, your mom's name wasn't Skip by any chance, was it?
Right.
Okay, just making sure. Right, Brian, thank you for the call, brother. That's great.
All right, have a good day.
Jeez,
in a house that I grew up with. I mean, 2 sisters, but they weren't getting into the roughhousing like the 6 boys were. The number of scars and just injuries and busted teeth and bloody noses. I mean, my God, it's just endless. I look back. If my wife and I had decided to have that many kids, I don't think I could have handled it. I mean, 2 was all we were built for.
Yeah, I mean, there was some conversation about a third, but after the second one, said the kid, we're like, no, we're good. Growing up on a farm, we didn't have 8 kids, but we grew up on a farm, and you were just lucky to make it out of there with all your digits and limbs.
Yeah.
But we had some good ones. I talk about, I've got this wonky pinky people bring up every once in a while, especially if I'm high-fiving with my left. I can't move it. It's kind of bent. It almost was cut off by a barn fan, and of course, Dad didn't take me in. The only time I've ever seen my mom punch my dad in the face, and he took it. He didn't even try to argue it. She said, get in the car. She was gone for a couple of days visiting her sisters. But my Candace scar, I'm just going to get this in here right now. We had a goat, Stormy. Couple of horns on Stormy, and Stormy was jogging past me, and I decided to I'm going to bronc ride this goat. I'm going to jump on his back. And as he goes by, I jump on Stormy's back, and Stormy wasn't having it. He hit the brakes, stop, and I face planted right into his horns, and I took 3 stitches on my chin. You can't see it because of the whiskers, but I have a nice little scar on my chin where I got 3 stitches from a goat horn. I was
man, no wonder you got something. I always felt like you got something against the goats.
That's it, Since then, it's just been me against the goats. But Candace is bringing me right back. Candace, you mentioned you have some scars.
Oh, I also have some chin scars, but luckily my whiskers are light and white, so you can. Well, not luckily, so you can see them.
Nice.
Well, so when I was little, like probably not that little, but like 7, I fell off my bike on a hill, which is not a hill. Going back to the street I live down, it's not a hill, but I fell and cut my chin open, blood everywhere, stitches.
Yeah.
And then when I was in high school, probably like 10 years later, us Richfield gals were kind of stupid and wild and would do stupid stuff and film it. And we would play that choking. God, this is so embarrassing. That choking game where you like choke yourself and make yourself pass out.
Oh, geez, you kids, right?
Just to feel something. We just wanted to feel something. So of course I did, and then I fell and on my friend Dana's dresser, and I hope her parents aren't listening. And scratched my chin up again and cut it open. It didn't need stitches, but
they're probably scrapbooking or writing in their diaries, or maybe just a kooky pillow fight. No, they're choking each other out.
Not in Richfield. It was
Richfield
we were wild.
Richfield was rocking, is what you're telling us.
It was very stupid. Do not ever do that if anyone's listening that's in high school. It's the stupidest thing you could ever do in your life.
It truly is. It truly is. And thankfully, Candace, you led the way. You took the hit for all of us. Thank you. Thank you for your service. We have another caller, or 2 or 3, I believe. Who we got, Candace?
Amy from Brooklyn Center.
Amy, good morning.
Good morning.
What have you got for us, sister?
Man, you guys make me laugh. I actually have a scar from 2015, and I had to lie about it because I broke my back doing a slip and slide with my grandson.
Oh, jeez.
And he built a jump at the end with rocks.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah, we used to do that.
Yeah, we had gotten to the point where we were putting dish soap on the slip and slide, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, to really go,
Don't do that. You're never too old to be stupid.
No, wait.
Amen,
so,
sister.
the cool grandma going down the slip and slide, and did you say you broke your back?
I did. I broke my sacrum in 17 places.
Oh my gosh!
No. My God, that
You're not from Richfield, are you?
No, but I have lived in Richfield.
All right, yeah. See, you pick up those bad habits.
Anybody, though.
Yeah.
I just cracked up. I'm like, how the hell do you go? I had to go to a family reunion after that about a month later, and I'm like, how do you tell these people you're freaking playing with a 3-year-old?
Yeah,
hey man,
yeah.
that's you earned a spot on grandma on the Mount Rushmore of grandmas. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Oh my God!
You go, girl.
I did Heelys. I learned how to skateboard.
Yeah,
I was bad at them, but I tried.
That's all that matters, man.
You got to get out there and live and take some chances, take some risks. I like it. You're
whole
still
living
kicking.
thing.
Yeah, right. This living's going to kill me, right?
Man.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Exactly. I just thought, oh my God, I remember having to lie to my aunt why I broke my back.
Well,
She's
Amy,
like, if your mother was alive, I'm like, if my mom was alive, she'd kick my hair.
Well, Amy, listen.
Yeah.
Please let us know when you successfully land a motorcycle after jumping over some buses. I'm sure that's the next thing on the list.
I'll give it a whirl.
I don't doubt it, and that's exciting. Thanks for the call, Amy. That's awesome.
30s, they'd dare me.
I'm just going to say it right now. I doubt we're going to have anybody top Grandma broke her back on slip and slide. So I'm going to go ahead and say you've won the day. Congratulations. That's incredible.
I thought maybe one of her kids had stepped on a crack on the sidewalk, but no, it was the slip and slide.
That's exactly right. Candace, we got somebody else?
Brandon from Brooklyn Park.
Brandon, good morning.
Good morning.
What's up, man?
So my scar isn't necessarily a great story, but it's what I do with it.
Right.
My scars on my wrist, it's you can imagine a square. It's two of the lines like connecting of a corner. So it's one line perfectly straight down my wrist and one line perfectly across my wrist.
Okay.
And so whenever anybody sees it, they're like, "Oh, what happened?" And I immediately cover up and look down. I'm like, "No, it was a long time ago. I don't want to talk about it."
Oh, boy.
And they're like, "Whoa!" And I'm like, "No, I'm just kidding. It's actually in Vietnam. 2 bullets hit and collided, and I aimed it, and I hit another person, killed him. One kid was like, "You're old enough to be in Vietnam?" I'm like, "Oh, this joke falls on deaf ears." And I'm like, no. I'm like, it was during Christmas. Christmas tree started on fire. I had to grab 2 of my sisters and jump through a plate glass window, and it cut me on the way down. I saved them both, though.
Sure.
And I'm like, no, what actually happened, and this is actually the truth, is in 8th grade, I was jumping on a trampoline. We had a deck so you could jump off the trampoline, or off the deck onto the trampoline.
Oh, yeah.
And I was missing one of the posts, and my buddy pushed me from the back really hard, and I flew off, tried to grab onto the deck. Well, where that post was missing, the nail was still there. So the nail went into my arm, and then I fell, and it ripped out, so it just slapped that whole piece of skin over so I could see bones and veins and everything, and they just kind of slapped it back over and sewed it shut. But every time somebody sees it, I just kind of make up something new every time.
That's a pretty good one, though. Jumping off the deck onto the trampoline, which I got busted by the mother of my children doing down there in Prior Lake. Thank goodness no one hurt like that. But a buddy pushing you, how many scars are there on this planet? We already heard another one earlier this morning, playing 500. He got pushed by his buddy into a metal fence post. Yeah.
Yep. I had the same thought.
I pushed him in the front, and then like 15 minutes he did his retribution by just shoving me in the small of my back as hard as I could. I flew way off the trampoline. This was like vengeance or uncontrolled rage.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Tramp rage.
Great. Hey, thank you for the call, brother. We appreciate it.
Thanks,
Zepp, I had the same reaction, which is, remember before you turned 30 when it was still funny to just shove a friend?
Just shove them out of your way, especially if you're playing like 500, that old game or something, or anytime, or just shove them, just walking down the street. And you just, there's a bicycle coming the other way, and you would just shove them in the... It was funny, we thought. And then, of course, you knew you had one coming back when you least expected it.
Heck yeah.
For that guy right there, it was jumping off the deck onto the tramp. This seems like a good opportunity to pay him back with a good shove. Oh, man.
The number of, but he pushed me stories that just go on forever in childhood.
Oh my gosh.
Plenty of scar stories, I'm sure, still to come. I still haven't told my handful of nickels and a good humor truck story. We'll get to that eventually. I do want to mention that, Saturday is 420. Which means we're going to get baked and stoned with you on 92 KQRS, by which I mean we're going to highlight the Stones starting Friday afternoon. Plus, we'll bake in plenty of other token tunes to enhance your 420 weekend. That's all weekend on KQRS.
Well, heck, we're going to even get it started this morning a little bit. We're doing Pot or PBS. That's a game show, a new game show, a Pot Strain or a PBS Kids show. That's not coming till 8 o'clock. Up for grabs today, Joe Satriani and Steve Vai tickets Wednesday at the State Theater. And then we have some runner-up tickets for Corey Stevens at the Medina Entertainment Center. That's at 8 o'clock. We want to hear about your scars. Steve has a story he's got to finish here for us. Sounds like a great setup. What was the setup? What is it called? 4 dimes? What is it?
5 nickels and a good humor truck.
Sounds like a Guy Ritchie movie. Let's hear your scar story. 651-989-ROCK. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Thursday, April the 18th. And we are talking about scars, broken bones, whatever you got, war stories. Everybody thinks their story's the craziest one, and then you start taking some of these phone calls, and we've already heard some doozies. I did mention I have a scar on my chin as well. We've all got chin scars around here. And I have one that's been there since my first day of kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
First day going to school, feeling, and the youngest of a big family, for a few years watching my brothers and sisters leave every morning, and of course I'm the idiot who's like, I cannot wait to go to school. Oh my God, I gotta go. I hated being the only kid in the house until as soon as I started going to school, and then I realized, wow, I was living a pretty good life there. But day one of kindergarten, I got home from school feeling like a big boy, feeling good, and I'm there ahead of everybody else. So I'm the only kid at the house, and my mom says, honey, or I said to my mom, the ice cream truck's going to come soon. Can I have some money? And she put in my hand 5 nickels. And I don't remember if that's because a blow pop or a push up or whatever I was going to get was 25 cents or if it was just what she had. But anyway, I walked out to the front porch of the house and I stood there with 5 nickels in my hand and I was shaking them and getting that jingle going. Just come on. Here comes. Come on. Where's he going to be? It's going to be any day now. Come on. It's still like early September or late August when school started, I guess. So, ice cream truck's still working. And I heard him in the distance, the bells, ching, 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 ching. And I'm shaking my nickels, in the rhythm of the bell of the good humor guy. I'm like, here he comes. Oh my God. I'm a big boy, went to kindergarten, and now I'm going to get my ice cream, probably going to get a push up. I'm going to feel. And then I saw him come around the corner and I stepped forward and I'm standing on our front porch, which is made of brick, and then down about 7 steps, also made of brick. And as I stepped forward, my foot missed the first step. And I tumbled ass over elbows down 6 or 7 brick steps and rolled out of that tumble, and my face just planted on a sprinkler.
Oh, sprinklers.
So my whole body hurt, but my face, I hit this sprinkler, and it wasn't one of those, it was the kind of sprinkler that just spins. It has 4 nozzles, and it spins, and shoots all out. I had a cut. I was bleeding from my chin, from right under my nose, right at the top of my nose, between my 2 eyes and my forehead. Just a straight line up my face of skinned, like you get a skinned knee, but I had the skinned face. Yeah. And it was just 4 of those. Boom. And who knows where the nickels went? They flew in all 5 different directions.
Never found the nickels?
Oh, no. I was laying there face down like, screaming, and she ran out. Oh my goodness! And she got me back up. And there are some photos. There's Gorman family slides where I look like I've just been, I've just got released from a gulag somewhere. I look like someone was torturing me. My entire face is scabbed and scarred. Beautiful. Oh, it was absolutely brutal. And then later in the day, when I finally did get some ice cream, I was like, I guess it was worth it. It's all just another day of being a school kid.
That's how they roll.
Oh, it was rough. 651-989-ROCK is the talk and text line. And, oh, baby, have we got some people that want to talk. Candace, who's up?
Chad from Mound.
Chad, lay it on us, brother. What do you got?
Hey, good morning, y'all. How we doing?
Great, thank you.
Awesome. So mine doesn't hold a candle to broken back granny or the triple heart surgeries, but it's I'm living with it for my life since I was 12 years old.
Okay.
So everybody's riding their bike. When you're 12 years old, seeing who can speed demon around the corners the fastest, and not knowing my shoe is untied. You see where this is going?
Oh
right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. My shoelace gets wrapped up in the gears or around the pedal, one of the two, and I fly over this because all of a sudden it just stops. And my shoe is still attached to the bike.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily it comes off so the bike doesn't land back on top of me. But I go skidding probably, at the time I said a half mile, but probably about 8-10 feet on my knee and my forehead that took the brunt of it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The forehead healed up pretty good. Knee, on the other hand, about 3 weeks later, I finally took the bandage off, and it's starting to, it's just scabbing over. 3 weeks later, I'm out riding my bike again. That scab came off when my shoelace got tangled up again.
Geez, with your shoelaces. We're going to get you some slip-ons, man.
You're why they invented Velcro shoes.
Yes,
I get it now.
Probably. So to this day, I've got a scar about the size of $3 silver on my knee.
Yeah, you do.
It actually looks like Africa.
Wow, okay, fair enough.
Your Africa scar, yeah.
That's awesome. All right, thanks for that, man. That's a
Safari
great
scar, yeah.
when you look back on, everybody had a bike. That's how you got around. And yeah, you'd see someone on a bicycle with a shoelace loose, and it was like, dude, yeah, it was such a red flag flying every time.
Oh, every time, yeah. The bicycle scars. I was thinking of now. I can't remember. Amy had called in. He called her broken back granny, but she did the slip and slide, and she mentioned that I think it was it her grandchild that liked to put rocks at the end of it, because it wasn't just enough. Once you did the slip and slide 15 times, then you put the dish detergent on it, soap, and then it went really fast. Now what else? You have to keep amping it up, and for us it was a little bike jump we did. But then what are we jumping? So we brought in all these, like an old washer we drug over there from the dump, and all these pipes and stuff. And my brother, he flinched when he was going off the ramp. He did that thing where he thought, nope, halfway up the ramp, I don't want to do this. And he hit the brakes. The front tire went off. He goes over the handlebars into the pile of junk, and he has a part in his hair, a second part in his hair that is a scar that goes about 6 inches back. He got a whole bunch of stitches out of that one, but where the hair doesn't grow, he's got like this really weird part up there. But yeah, good old bicycle crashes. That'll produce a scar or 3.
The bicycle thing, the things you always worried about, the untied shoelace, but then also just the chain coming off. You know what I mean? Like, you ever been on a bike and suddenly you can't use the brakes because the chain disengaged? The other one I saw, my favorite bike accident I ever saw, which was not involving me. My buddy Jimmy Gunning had a cool bike, a yellow like Stingray model bike, and I think one of his brothers, we were popping wheelies. My brother Tom could ride a bike in wheelie form for he could go for a mile, just pop a wheelie and hold it and pedal.
I love it.
And so we were trying to figure out how to do that. And one of Jimmy's older brothers loosened his front tire. So when he popped the wheelie, the front tire just flew off. And then it was just those 2 forks. And he could hold the wheelie too, but he was holding the wheelie, and then in a blind panic, didn't occur to him to just somehow settle or aim for the grass. He just was like, I can't stop. And then he got more and more amped up, and then he was holding his wheelie and then speeding up incredibly. And we just but then when you're watching it, it's like in super slow motion, because we all know it's like a movie where the pilot's dead and you're holding the plane, and it's going to crash eventually. I mean, all you could do is hold on as long as you can. And we kept saying, like, go to the grass, and he was dead in the middle of the street, and it never occurred to him to go either left or right and try to land in the grass. And when he finally lost the wheelie, he didn't go backwards, he went forwards, and that fork slammed in the ground, and it got bent, and he went over the handlebars. And it was, the whole thing probably lasted 9 seconds, but it felt like 9 minutes, because everyone's like, oh no. The panic of the bike crash that's about to happen.
Candace, and he's got enough time to know that it's going to hurt.
Oh God, if it was 9 minutes to me, it was 9 hours to him. Candace, who else we got on the horn? We got a lot of people wanting to share some stories.
Michelle from Cambridge.
Michelle, good morning.
Good morning.
What's the story, lady? Let's have it.
Well, I have 2 pages in my baby book of what I did, but one of those, I used to jump on the couch, so I got curtain rods stuck between my eyes.
Oh.
So I was stuck there, and I had to go to the hospital with the curtain rod there and have them remove it.
Wow!
What? You stuck a curtain? Hold on. You were jumping? Yeah.
My eye on the corner from a grapefruit spoon.
A grapefruit spoon?
Yep, and then the curtain rod between the eyes.
Goodness gracious.
Well, you were catching some air on that couch. That's impressive.
Oh, I know. I see the scar every day,
How did you get the grapefruit spoon in the eye?
I know. And 2 other things are like, remember those cars back in the days when they had the lighters in the driver's door?
Oh, sure, yeah. Of course.
Well, I was playing with it when I was a little girl, and I had this Popeye the monkey, my little, thing. And, well, I started a fire, and I started him on fire and me. And then I sat in turpentine and burned my bottom badly.
All right. You're a walking disaster.
Man.
I know. That's only just a couple things on my list.
The list goes on.
Eyes. I see it, every day, and it's just crazy. I hate it.
Wow. Well, hang in there. Watch out. Maybe put some bubble wrap over your entire body. I'm worried about you.
Exactly, because I'm always getting in accidents, and someone told me, "Yeah, you should wrap yourself some bubble wrap."
That's right. That's awesome. Well, thanks for the call. Those are great stories. My gosh. Whew. All right, Candace, who's up next?
All right. Fred Brown from Out of Town is how he introduced himself.
All right.
Downtown Freddie Brown. What's up, brother?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
It happened to me, but this is a long story from when we were kids, or young adults, I should say. So the private airline hangar, some buddies of mine were partying there. High on LSD, let's just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
One guy thought it would be a good idea to ride the crane hook. And on his way down, he slipped with the crane hook right to the nut purse. And had to call the ambulance to come and get him.
Yeah.
The most amazing part is his best buddy had to put him back together before they got there.
Ouch.
Yeah, the nut purse. Did he have to tuck one back in, a testy back in the purse?
Yes.
He did. Oh, he had to
man.
stick the nut back in the
Better man
purse.
than I.
Okay.
Yeah,
no kidding.
And,
That's
and here we were having a perfectly fine morning, and now my stomach is turning. Oh, my God, that's terrible.
I've never had a friend that's actually touched my
it.
physical testicle.
That is absolutely horrifying. Thanks.
You hear about that. It didn't happen to me. It was the other kid in the town next to Wolsey down there, Tulare over there. But it was a fence post jumped off I don't know what the heck he jumped, a truck or something like that. The metal fence post caught on the nutsack. Of course, this is kind of one of those urban stories that got around. It happened, but we, point at the kid, but no one ever really went and confronted him. But the idea was that, both of his testes were hanging out, and Dad had to tuck them back inside. While Mom kind of held, and they rushed him in and the whole thing. And I don't know how that ever turned out for him, but he was that kid.
Yeah, sure.
You'd be at a track meet or something like, that's him over there. Look at him. Both of his nuts came out of his sack. And his dad and his mom had to put him back in there.
Nobody ever forgets that one. Candace, who else have we got?
Joe from Roberts, Wisconsin.
Joe, good morning.
Good morning.
Lay it on us, brother.
So I was about first grade, and we were living on a farm back then, and I was going out to the farm. My brother had an old 67 Chevelle right inside the barn, and it was summertime. I was just wearing shorts. Went to go sneak into the barn there through the big barn door. Well, the wind gusted up, and I cut the old manhood on the license plate.
No!
I looked down, and it was just fully red. I walk in the house. My mom immediately fainted. And my dad helped me out. He put me in the tub with some hydrogen peroxide, stuff like that. It all worked out. It works, so.
Well,
hey, you want to see my scar? That sounds like a great pickup line.
That is a great pickup line.
Right?
Man, that's probably far more traumatizing to see your mom faint than to go through what you were already going through. Looking back.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, she just fell out. There was no...
you're a kid and you're thinking, this is pretty bad. Oh, no, this is really bad. My mom fainted. Oh, my gosh. That's
super bad.
Yeah, you made the list, brother. Nice one. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, thank you.
Holy
Yeah, we're going below the belt with scars now. Thank goodness.
Man,
I've avoided those. Like I said, I took the shot, the skipper softball to the nut, but nothing. That scar tissue is on the inside.
Yeah, for sure.
Not the outside. Nothing cut.
I think we have time for another one, Candace. Who we got?
All right. We have Dave from Uppsala.
Dave, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Love your show.
Thank you, brother.
I'll try and make this quick because it's a long history. Started out third day after summer vacation, first grade, out picking rocks on the farm.
Mm-hmm.
Dad had a board stuck underneath the trailer so they wouldn't sag so much you could put more weight on. Well, I'm a young kid. What do? I hang on the board. The back wheel of the rock wagon catches my foot. Rock wagon runs over the entire length of my body. That's how my broken bones started out. I had tire tracks on my head for like a month. Anyway, so after that, another car accident at 19, first leave from the service, going fishing with my dad, grandpa, and brother. Got T-boned at 85 miles an hour.
Whoa!
Already walked away from it. Then 2018 or 2000,
angel stuff.
2000 actually, I just moved back from Portland after 15 years out there. I work as a construction superintendent. Anyway, I get rear-ended on Highway 10 on Egret Boulevard there, going out to Oak Grove where I lived, coming home from work at 60 miles an hour. I was stopped. Just blew out my entire back. Finally, after 2 surgeries after that, I ended up having a major surgery with 5 vertebrae fused and 4 discs replaced in 1 surgery.
You're using up your 9 lives, man.
In my back. And to back up a little bit, in 1990, living out in Portland, I'm changing my transmission in my van, so I have it up in car jacks. I'm disconnecting everything, getting ready to go down, waiting for the transmission shop to open up so I can get a transmission jack to lower the transmission. And I figured, well, I might as well get the drive shaft off as well. I thought the e-brake was on the brake drums, ended up being on the drive shaft. Well, when I clinked that first U-bolt out of there, I knew I was probably not going to live through this, so I tried to roll out the side, got crushed on edge, took off all the skin from my ankle to my armpit, broke all the bones, all my ribs off at the sternum and the backbone, 8 breaks in between, and broke my collarbone.
Evil Knievel, ladies and gentlemen, with us on the KQ Morning Show. The man has broken every bone in his body. That is an astounding and I can tell you're just getting started, and I hate to say it, but we got to bounce.
Yeah.
We've got to get
a job for you.
Thank you for calling, and thanks for your patience waiting to get on. It was worth the wait for us. I wish you well. Just get through the day, one day at a time, brother. We're thinking of you.
Stay out from under. Stay away from tires, man. Anything with wheels, stay away from it.
That is one tough son of a bitch right there. Wow. I am impressed. Hey, you can catch up with Steve Gorman and the KQ Morning Show podcast. KQ Morning Show podcast. Anywhere you get podcasts, anytime you want. And that bad boy is sponsored by our dear friends, Candace Wheeler.
At Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies. Yum.
Oh, yum, yum, yum for sure. All right, Zepp, let's give some stuff away.
Did you say podcast?
Pot.
Devani's?
Pod. It's 420. Everything's pot.
Right, exactly. Pot or PBS. That's the game show this morning. We'll need a couple of contestants. 9 and 2 right now. 651-989-ROCK for tickets to Joe Satriani and Steve Vai. Those two. That's some solos right there. That's happening Wednesday at the State Theater. A prize provided by Outback Presents. Our runner-up today, another guitar man. Corey Stevens, let's call him, tomorrow at the Medina. Thank you to the Medina for those tickets. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck. And hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Saturday is 420, ladies and gentlemen. It's also Record Store Day. Check this out. So tomorrow, the day before Record Store Day, we're going to be giving something away. You know, we like to give away concert tickets. We do it most days. However, tomorrow, we're going to be giving away a turntable and some vinyl because, you know, a day ahead of Record Store Day, what would be better? So that's something to keep in mind. When you wake up tomorrow morning, stay tuned and we'll have all the details. But right now, it's just another old Thursday with concert tickets on the table. What do we got? Joe Satriani and Steve Vai.
Right.
That's going to be all the notes played Wednesday, April 24th at the State Theater. That is 2 extraordinary guitarists. We've got tickets to that show. We've also got, as a runner-up prize today, tickets to see Corey Stevens tomorrow at Medina Entertainment Center. We've got a couple of callers who are ready to play a game. Brian, please, what is today's game?
Marijuana. What was it? That old Reefer Madness.
Reefer Madness.
The marijuana, the plant with its roots in hell. Yeah, there was an old drop I used to play every once in a while. And even now I really want to play it again. Will you humor me? Well, it's
sure.
all on the computer right now. Oh, it's going to fail me. I don't want it. There's a gong in it.
I am forever a beanbag chair and exactly one hit off a bong away from a great nap.
Oh, yeah.
Lucky.
I love it.
That's all that happens.
I have this one.
Hey, man.
Oh, here it is.
Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell.
That's the one.
That's great. I like the gong.
Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell.
But it's not all about weed. In fact, you'll probably know more about weed than you'll know about kids shows on PBS. Well, it depends if you're a parent. We're going with pot or PBS. Is it a weed strain or is it a kids show on PBS? We need a couple of contestants to put to the test here.
I like it. Candace, who is contestant number 1?
We have Jessica from Victoria.
Jessica, good morning.
Morning.
Are you an enthusiast of either weed or PBS children's shows or both?
Probably neither.
Okay. Well, then you're in the right place. It's time to learn a little about both new realms. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
All right. Guess away here, Jess. First one, pot or PBS kids show? Big Bamboo.
Pot.
Yeah, that is pot. That's a strain of weed.
Oh.
The Big Bamboo. That's a sativa.
I like it.
Doing good. Pretty. So far, so good. Let's see if I can pronounce this one. Zobumafu. Zobumafu. Pot or kids show?
Let's go kids show.
Yeah, right. How do you
Wow.
what are you talking about? You're an expert here.
Jessica. Wake and bake and put on the cartoons with Jessica. This is great. 2 for 2.
All right, Jess, here we go. Magic School Bus.
Oh, that's PBS.
Yeah, that is PBS.
Yeah, boom.
That's a well-known one, isn't it? What about Danky Doodle?
Let's go pot.
Yeah, that's pot. Wow,
Dang.
I thought this might be an easy one, actually. JJ the Jet Plane?
Oh, let's go PBS.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
PBS, 5 for 5.
Yeah.
I know, I'm just giving them away. Steve, you better come up with a tiebreaker, man.
There was JJ the Jet Plane was a Gorman house staple when the kids were little too. So yeah, for sure. Is that it? 5 for 5, Jessica.
5 for 5. Just raced right through it this morning.
Bam!
Dang, we're going to be out of this before you know it.
Man, no kidding. All right, Jessica, hold on. We're going to go to contestant number 2, who's got their work cut out for them. Who are we talking to, Candace?
Don from Minneapolis.
Don, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Are you ready to play pot or PBS?
I guess I'm ready.
Yeah, come on. You made the call. You waited on hold. It's time, brother. The bells are ringing. Good luck to you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Don. First up, pot or PBS kids show? Purple Dog.
PBS.
That's actually weed, Don.
Oh, man.
Oh,
I
man.
know, but we got to kill some time here. The
Well,
clock's
you still got
you gotta play it out, man.
You have to earn the runner-up tickets, so you know.
Yeah,
you
that's
play
right.
the game.
Yeah, nothing's free,
Okay.
man. No, you're doing Purple Dog. That I knew that one was going to trip someone up. As I looked at this list, I went Purple Dog. That could go either way, right? How about Sage and Sour?
Weed.
Yeah, that's weed.
Sure
That one's
it is.
weed.
Yeah.
What about Splash and Bubbles?
PBS.
Yeah, that's right. PBS
Wow.
Kids Show. Splash and Bubbles.
Never heard of that one.
How about Greens? Just the Greens.
Weed.
That's a kid show. About weed.
Oh.
No, it's not about weed, I
Kid
don't
show
think.
about weed.
All right, one more here for you. Don, pot or PBS, Uncle Andy.
PBS.
That is weed.
Oh, man.
Jessica.
Wow.
You've earned yourself the runner-up prize.
That's a fact. Corey Stevens tomorrow night at Medina Entertainment Center for Don. Jessica, you are not only the winner today, but you ran the table with a perfect 5 for 5. Congrats.
Not bad.
You've got 2 tickets to Joe Satriani and Steve Vai, Wednesday, April 24th at the State Theater. Have a great night.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
I was
And
going
when-
to go with the Stoner Jeopardy, but I thought it was too hard.
Oh,
but
sure.
I think Jessica would have been up for Stoner Jeopardy.
I do believe so. And it's funny that Jessica said, no, I don't know anything about weed or PBS, and we believed her.
I know she didn't even hesitate. Just bing, bang, boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I used to think I was good at Jeopardy, and anytime I catch it now, I'm really like, and I don't know if it's just as you age, the memory wanes or what, or just I'm not retaining new information. But I watched an entire episode of Jeopardy about 2 weeks ago. I kid you not. I think I got like 4 answers of the whole, both boards. I was like, oh my God, what is happening to my brain?
It goes episode to episode, man, and I don't watch it much anymore. But yeah, when I was in my Jeopardy phase, it was Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy back to back. Yeah, there were good shows and bad shows, but yeah, there's some shows I'm like, I'm the dumbest guy on the planet. And then the next show, you kind of get on a roll. You get into that groove, and just and randomly kind of nail a few, but. So we can't buy it legally here yet in Minnesota. This is the problem with not putting a pothead. I knew this was going to happen once they put the Cannabis Council together.
Right.
There's not one damn pothead on the council. They're like, well, how do we do this responsibly?
Yeah.
No, open up the damn stores, but you can legally own it. So people can light up this Saturday legally in Minnesota, but however you got that, of course you grew it yourself, right?
Of course you grew it yourself.
I do I have a lot of friends here in Minnesota. There's suddenly that little garden out back that has been untended for maybe a decade now. Is suddenly everyone's growing pot. I see, especially in the southern suburbs. I'm down there visiting friends. I'm like, is that pot in your backyard? Oh, yeah, let's go look at it, man. Yeah. So a lot of people are trying to figure out how to grow this thing, the green thumb routine. Unfortunately, Minnesota just doesn't have the climate to do it outside very well. But
hey, it never dawned on me when I was a kid watching Captain Kangaroo. He had a buddy named Mr. Green Jeans, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
I wonder if that was like I wonder if there's like some undertone stoner stuff going on with Mr. Green Jeans. Now, I can't remember a word the guy said. I can just kind of see him, a very vague memory. But I mean, what I mean is, I wonder if the writers had very subtle. Maybe he was a planted stoner character that only the adults knew about,
Well, they did, you go back in the history of Looney Tunes. There's a great documentary on it. And they were putting in all sorts of adult references, adult-themed things into these kid shows just to make each other laugh. A kid couldn't figure it out, but mom and dad sitting there might have gone,
I'm a child of Nickelodeon, Ren and Stimpy, freaking
Ren and Stimpy.
Super stoner.
Oh, God. SpongeBob even. I mean, but I turned out okay.
I tell you what, you did. You know what? You absolutely did. SpongeBob, I will still, if I'm flipping channels and I see SpongeBob, I will just start watching it. I think that show's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
So funny. By the way, I'm sure someone out there is some relative of Hugh Branham, the man who played Mr. Green Jeans, is going, well, my uncle was not a stoner, you son of a bitch. Hey, so 420 is the big stoner day. The stoner, it's on every stoner's calendar. And there's several different versions of where that all came from. It was high school kids who would get stoned at 420. It was the price of an ounce of weed. You hear different origin stories.
Yeah.
But I do know this. In Colorado on Interstate 70, there's a mile marker sign 420, and every time the state would put it up, it would be stolen. They'd replace it, it would be stolen. Colorado 420.
Of course.
So now the mile marker is 419.99.
Oh,
they just gave
steal
up.
That one.
Yeah, I know. They just gave up there. They're like, screw it. So you're on I-70 in Colorado. You go to mile marker 419, and you're like, here comes 420, and it's 419.99.
How disappointing.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that is. That's not bad. I like it.
Candace, you mentioned something earlier. I said that I am a beanbag chair and one hit of a bong away from a solid cleansing and healing nap. And then you were like, oh, God, I wish. Because you've mentioned this before. Correct me if I'm wrong, but weed has the exact opposite effect on you?
Yeah, I'm up. I'm up.
Boom.
I'm in the deep depths of my brain, which no one should go.
No one should go. So all the doors open. You just step right into a room. There's 10 doors. All those doors open. You go through one. There's 10 more doors. You're like a mental Escher painting as soon as you get stoned.
Yep, and it's usually. I mean, most people aren't like me, or at least the men in my life that I've been romantically involved with have the opposite effect, so that's no fun.
Right. That's no fun at all.
You know, I was going to say, I didn't want to come off as sexist, but it's not sexist in any way, but it seems to me in stoner relationships I've been in where we both partook, it was, for me, it's, I'm the beanbag guy. I'm the guy, let's turn it on. I might not fall asleep right away, but I'm definitely a chill stoner.
Yeah.
But then, I'd be in relationships and they get stoned and go, let's clean the house. I'm like, stop, smoke more. What's wrong with you? No, when I get stoned, I just love to clean. You love to clean? Or
See, I don't love to
talk
clean.
is the other one. The other one's talking. They
You
want
gotta
to
be awake.
communicate.
You know, like if I want to stay up and listen to, Jim Morrison's American Prayer and talk about weird stuff all night and make out. I don't need you snoozing on the beanbag. This isn't going to work out.
I got to salute. Here's the deal. There are probably men out there who have been romantically linked with Candace in the past, and they tell this story. They go, I was dating this girl, and she loved to get stoned, so every time she would pull out a joint, she would hand me a line of crystal meth so we could so we could spend the night together on the same wavelength.
He just needs an upper while you're going with the pot. The downer,
Hi, I was thinking I'd get stoned, so here's some methamphetamine for you.
Yeah, that'll get him chatty.
That's a great character on a show. Life with Candace. That's just fantastic.
It does sound like a sitcom just waiting to be made, doesn't it?
It's fun.
Or it airs 5 days a week here from 6 to 10 a.m. on 92.5.
The first time I didn't get stoned until I was. I think I was 21 the first time I ever smoked pot. And I wasn't necessarily, like afraid of it. I just never felt right about the people who were offering me the weed. You know what I mean? Like, and finally somebody I knew and trusted and didn't think was, gonna take me down to some ditch and, shoot me in the back of the head after I got stoned. Every time I got offered weed in high school, it was always with literally the dudes who I knew were going to end up in prison. I had friends who got stoned, but they never did around me. And I was like, it was a mystery. Anyway, finally, I'm 21. Hell, I might have even been 22. And I was sitting around with some friends, and I was like, and I said, guys, I'm not even going to try to pretend I've done this. First time ever. They're like, oh, yeah, cool. I took 2 hits off a joint, and I was not awake for 60 seconds. I was just out. It was like someone hit me in the head with a hammer. I was out for the duration. And the next day, everyone's like, dude, what was that? I'm like, I don't know, but man, I know the cure for insomnia for this guy. And it's been that way ever since. I spent years trying to be a good stoner. I was in a band full of stoners on a tour bus every night. And I would get like, okay, let's put on Led Zeppelin 1 and really go deep. And, boom, sound asleep by the time Dazed and Confused starts.
I mean, that sounds, I know a lot of people that would love that reaction to it, and I know a lot of people that have that reaction to it. Yeah, they're either like Candace, they really want to communicate and connect, and it opens a window for them, a door or whatever. And, most of us just want to turn on cartoons and see how many ingredients we can get into one bowl. How many things can we get into one bowl and eat the whole thing? I can't wait to wake up with a gut ache, and then, of course, you smoke pot, and the gut ache goes away, and suddenly you're hungry again. Or the people that just instantly knock out. Had a good buddy like that. We'd all get stoned, and he would fall asleep with the oney in his hand. Be like, could you reach over and grab that out of his hand and pass it along to the next person? So it's, whatever your chemical reaction is, that's yours. I know a lot of people that use kind of micro-dose edibles at night that aren't, they weren't big party animals. They didn't booze a lot or smoke a lot or do any of the pills or snorting or anything. But they find that a little bit of edibles will just knock them out at night and put them into a deep, deep sleep. And like I said, I know several people that do that. You're like, what? You do edibles? Oh, only at night to go to bed. Or I'm the opposite. I like Sunday morning wake and bake or something like that. Let's get the day started like this. All right. That kind of thing.
I've just had to leave it all behind, man. And nothing works for me anymore. Hell, I can't even sleep if I have a beer anymore. I fall asleep and then wake up an hour later and my body's like, we're processing these sugars in an inaccurate way. You're going to have to be awake with a headache now. I mean, at least it's coming, but it's happening to me naturally. It is my own body telling me, hey, dumbass, pay attention. Things aren't the same. Oh man, I can't. I'm not supposed to eat a pizza right before bed anymore. Damn it!
Right. I'm thinking of stoners when I'm looking at this list. Some of the things people forget in Ubers. They have some common things on here, and we had a list similar to this. But Uber just put out their own list here in Minnesota right before they leave town. Maybe it was a farewell gesture. Actually, they've extended that now. I think till June or something. They'll get something worked out. But you're gonna have to explain what some of these things are. It's a pretty crazy list, and we want to keep the scar stories coming. We got the ball rolling on that this morning, but having a lot of fun and some really crazy, bizarre, how did you get that scar story? Everybody's got a scar story. The talk and text line is wide open this morning, 651-989-ROCK. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Thursday, April the 18th. Misty Mountain Hop from Led Zeppelin 4. What do you think I saw? Oh, man. Bob could hit a note, couldn't he?
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Man. You can get up there, Candace.
No way, Jose.
No? Nah, you can do it. Come on, try. Sing Misty Mountain Hop. Full voice for us. See? There it was.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Man, come on. Did you ever give any thought to doing a Led Zeppelin band? You
Nope.
are, of course, in Sabotage, Black Sabbath tribute band. Never did
You'd
Zepp?
have to get a perm, wouldn't you?
It's too hard.
It's just too hard.
It's just too hard.
It's just too
I don't know
hard.
what that says about Black Sabbath music, but...
Well, you know.
Right, it's odd. I mean,
not
Ozzy,
hard.
Robert Plant, listen, both icons, but, you know, on opposite ends probably of the range when it comes to singing, I guess. You know, you can love them both, and I do love them both. But, yeah, I wouldn't put the one up against the other one in American Idol.
No. I think that would go awry quickly.
That whole Misty Mountain Hop thing, I heard Robert Plant in an interview years ago, and I'm probably screwing this up, but that's why we have you, Steve, to correct my poor memory. That was probably Stone on his name. But he said he was at a big festival over in England with, I think it was a pot festival back in the day, and he was walking through the crowd, and that inspired some of the lyrics to Misty Mountain Hop.
Sounds about right. I believe that's the case. Imagine being Robert Plant in the early 70s walking around London. You just take a stroll through Hyde Park. You're 6'3", you're a Viking god, and you've got
Beautiful,
that voice
yeah,
and the
right.
whole thing. I mean, man, he had a hot minute there, to be sure.
It's a long minute.
My second, or no, it was the third big tour my band opened for. First record came out in early 90. Spent the summer on tour with Aerosmith and then Heart, and then our third big tour was with Robert Plant. And we opened that tour at Red Rocks, and I stood on the side of that stage in awe that he could still do it at 42 years old. I'm not kidding. We all were like, man, he looks great. He's still got it. How is he doing this at 42?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the great quote from Mick Jagger back in the early 1970s, "One won't still be doing this when I'm 40. 70. I don't want to still be doing this when I'm 40. And just the idea of being a 40-year-old rocker was just ludicrous back in the day. But, I mean, people were checking out at 40. Well, 40, you're too old to even be going out anymore. So, society is good. We've made advancements. We're evolving. So, 70 is the new 40, I guess.
I guess so. I know this. I'm not 40. I'm not 70. I'm pushing 60, and I am starting to lose it. I mentioned earlier. I watched an entire episode of Jeopardy, and I got 4 answers right. I have also, as of late, I put down my keys and my wallet and my phone throughout the day regularly, and then don't know where they are. That's a new thing in the last year.
Yeah,
I am losing everything. I've never been that way.
I guess I've always been a bit forgetful, a bit of a scatterbrain, but it's definitely gotten much worse, so much so that I received as a gift those AirTags, and not for when I travel, and I have one in my wallet. I have the wallet with the AirTag in it. I mean, it was built for that. Also a keychain with an AirTag on it. I think there's an AirTag on me somewhere. I'm not sure where, but I mean, the AirTags, everybody's giving me AirTags. I'm losing everything, and that's not so, if I'm traveling where I leave it behind at a restaurant. No, that's to find find it in the frickin' house. I've got my phone out, and I'm walking around like a dimwit going, it's over by the couch. Wait a second. If I get down, oh, there it is on the table.
Right. I mean,
because the AirTags are so exact, they take you there within like a foot of it.
Yeah. That's
or
awesome.
now they have the ping. You can hit the ping and it'll make a little noise for you. And I'll be like, what room is that? It's over there on that side of the house somewhere.
Yeah. Rosemary and I are going to New York this weekend. Going to see a play, going to see
Cool.
some friends. We got a nice little weekend journey planned. We'll be in taxis as you do in New York City. I just that's the one place I still feel good about a taxi. You just walk out, put your arm up, boom, it's right there.
Yeah.
Or at least it's been a few years since I was in New York, so I'm assuming they still operate. But
I think so.
Uber just released the most common things people have left behind in Ubers. There's 11 things that are most common, and then a whole list of some weird ones. I mean, the common things, nothing you would be surprised to hear. Headphones, wallets, jewelry. I mean, all of them send a chill up my spine. I lost a wallet once, and it was the worst month of my life. It freaked me out.
I don't set anything down in there. If I take my phone, I will not set anything on the seat for a moment. I mean, it all has to. If I pull my phone out, it goes right back in the pocket. Same with anything. There's no setting down of anything in a vehicle. A ride share.
One of the things that's not on this list is keys. And I thought that was weird, but then I realized, most of us we don't have keys like we used to. Like a lot of house keys, you have a fob for your car. You probably have, a lot of people, their house has now a code, or you open the front door with an app. So there's just the old keys aren't as much of a thing as they used to be, is what I should say, is what I mean to say. So, but this is a weird one, luggage, books, laptops. I couldn't imagine getting into a car and getting out and leaving my suitcase behind, or a shoulder bag. That's a weird one. But like I said, but I get it because people do that. But here's a few more left in Ubers. A toupee. A frontal hair toupee.
I'm picturing someone taking the bar ride home. Maybe had passed out in the back seat, got up, left the toupee on the seat there, and stumbled out. Maybe, I don't know. The frontal hair toupee. What's the frontal hair toupee?
I don't know. Maybe that's for someone's front office. Actually, it's not for the head.
You ever, had a little tryst with someone, and you wake up in the morning and their hair is laying on the dresser? Candace, do women do this? Because the hair clips that they put in, they have this long, luscious hair in the bar. It's very attractive. Probably what attracted me to them. And then you wake up in the morning, and a lot of it is sitting right there. And they're like, and they just shove it in their purse, and it took me a while to get used to that kind of stuff. But I guess the hair clips, right?
Never happened. I can't say I have any experience with anything like that.
All right. Just me then.
I was on the phone. I'm sorry, what?
I was just talking about, we were talking about someone left in Uber a frontal hair toupee. Don't know what that is in the first place, but women putting the clips of hair in, where you just kind of clip it in. And I've done, I've had a splendid night with someone, woke up the next morning, and there's half their hair sitting on the nightstand, or sitting beside the bed. And I'm like, what the, or whatever. And it just, it freaked me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any of those. But there used to be this thing, I saw it out and about on vacation last week. There used to be this thing that's like a scrunchie that you could put in your hair. It was in the early 2000s. I forgot, it had a fun name, but I can't remember it. But it was like a scrunchie with hair on it.
Okay.
So you could put your hair in a ponytail or a bun and just make it super, super big and luscious. Saw one of those blast from the past this weekend.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Still out there.
Also left behind in an Uber, a burrito steamer.
Wow.
What'd you call it? What?
No, a burrito steamer. That's a thing. A live pet turtle. That was not left by. That wasn't.
Wow,
that wasn't
irresponsible.
accidentally. That was intentional.
Yeah, that was a parent that. We'll get you another one, and they never do get it. Do you know what a burrito steamer is? Is that a thing that? All right.
It sounds like a euphemism for what Chauncey just did outside during the commercial break.
Laid down a burrito steamer. Yeah. Someone here left a jar of oysters. Is that? Does that bother anyone else?
That's not good.
I don't want my oysters in a jar.
Oh, I
Who
like
wants
that freaky stuff. I like canned oysters and clams.
I like them on the half shell, but yeah, all right, in the can, but just a jar of, okay, all right.
Okay, also included a fake butt, a thong, various undergarments, and a paternity test.
Oh.
Oops.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that was being. Where did I leave that? No, I swear it's your kid. Yeah, you got a test. I had it on me somewhere. Oh, here's one. A fart sensor.
Sensor.
I didn't. Yeah, there's a fart sensor.
Got to remember what like you said, pack it in, pack it out.
Yeah, right, exactly. Don't be setting things down in there. And you're usually a lot of people cocktailing when they take the Ubers, so
I don't know if anybody ever left a gold brick behind in an Uber, but we talked about this last year. Toronto Pearson International Airport, about a year ago, April of 23, there was a heist. 6,600 gold bars were stolen from that airport, $20 million worth, as well as $2.5 million in foreign currencies. It was the biggest gold heist in Canadian history. Hard to imagine a bigger gold heist anywhere, but that's the biggest one. And now, an investigation, they have arrested 9 suspects.
Oh,
Police say this thing is sure to be a Netflix series. It's such a tremendous caper. Again, 6,600 gold bars that weigh over 800 pounds taken from the airport. I gotta think that's an inside job. It's not like you just stumble. That's not a crime of opportunity. I walked into a room with gold bars. Who knew? 5 suspects, including, here it is, an Air Canada employee. Damn straight.
Yeah.
Got to have somebody on the inside on that one.
I got it. You're right. And it's so easy to track. You knew this one was going to crack. I mean, it's got Hollywood written all over it. 6,600 gold bars. Yeah. $2.5 million in foreign currencies. It captures the imagination, but too many moving parts. Someone screws it up. We know that from the Scorsese movies, right?
Yeah.
Someone's gonna talk. Someone's gonna spend some money.
Yeah. After the Lufthansa heist in Goodfellas, what does De Niro do? He starts whacking his own men. He's like, I gotta tie up loose ends here.
Yeah, and somebody goes, and wasn't there someone, the first guy who whacked went out and bought a new car and a fur coat for his wife. Yeah, you can't be spreading the money around. These guys were melting down. I understand the stolen gold bars, disguising them like bracelets and that sort of thing. So they had smelting equipment, but the Canucks got them, 9 of them.
A flight comes in from Zurich. It lands. This is literally a year ago yesterday. Lands in the afternoon. Container with all of this valuable stuff was taken from the Air Canada plane and brought to a cargo facility. One of the suspects, I guess that would be the Air Canada employee, was able to get into the facility, loaded the stuff into a delivery truck, and just simply drove away. The driver presented a fraudulent airway bill, a document with details on a shipment, got out of the secure area, and he was gone. And so this company called Brinks Canada, they were hired to transport the gold. They arrived to collect the shipment, and can you imagine that? Hey, we're here to pick up all the gold. And the guy goes, yep, it's right over. Wait a minute. Where is it? Imagine going to pick up the gold and then being told, it's not here.
6,600 gold bars. I mean, we're not talking about a bag of cash that fell off the back of the truck here or something like somebody miscounted when they were loaded. 6,600 gold bars. You just think that every step of the way, that much money, $20 million in raw gold like that, would have a platoon of soldiers with it the entire time. But there was just a little gap in the security there where an employee was able to just move it on over here.
Yeah, and by the way, back to the guys pulling off the heist and then acting stupid afterwards. One of the people, the guy who actually drove that truck, he's been in custody in Pennsylvania since September. He was pulled over driving a rental car, and I don't know if he was speeding or if he ran a red light, but police pulled him over. Oh, and they found 65 firearms in his rental vehicle. Hey, dumbass. You got away with the gold. Don't drive around with 65 guns. I don't care what you think you're doing.
Well, until we divvy it up, I'm going to do this gun running on the side. I'm going to commit a few other serious crimes on the side that will get me, landing in jail, and then they'll start doing a background on me. And what do you say? He was up in Canada last year, huh? So right. It's lay low.
Here's another crazy one that just came across the desk. New South Wales, Australia. That's where Sydney is, like on the south coast of Australia. Mm-hmm. In December, 39 sealed packages were discovered on a pretty secluded beach. They were about 2 pounds each, opened up by someone who found them, and that's 2 pounds of cocaine in each of these 39 packages. And then within days, 9 more packages were found across 8 different beaches. They just kept on washing ashore. By last week, the police had collected these packages, 560 pounds of cocaine in 2-pound bindles, small individual blocks. It's just, where are these coming from? What's happening? And Australian police finally just realized, or they finally just announced they found the guy responsible. It was a huge shipment coming in by via the sea. Like they had a literal shipment on a ship of cocaine. And the plan was it was almost 2,000 pounds, and they dropped it about a mile offshore. But then there was, and with the plans for some guys in scuba gear to go out and fetch it from a shallow part of the ocean.
All right.
But then there was some inclement weather, and they could not get out there. And then all of a sudden, all the individual bindles, I guess they were bricked up, and then they broke apart, and all the individually water sealed. They were watertight, I should say, very, very well wrapped and protected. But they all broke into their individual 2 and 3 pound brick sizes and just started washing ashore. Somebody dumped 2,000 pounds of coke and then could not retrieve it.
Wow.
Oof. Yeah. And that somebody has had to answer to his boss ever since. And I imagine that somebody is no longer walking around. They're probably in just as many pieces as there were bindles of cocaine lost.
We're back to laying low. You'd have to go way, way, way underground. Yeah, you'd have to get the hell out of Dodge for sure. And check that weather app. Before you drop something out there.
Good tip for the traffickers.
In the ocean, go ahead and pull up the weather app. Let's see what the weather looks like. But it's only a forecast. Things go awry.
Rosemary and I were in the Virgin Islands, St. John, the island that we spent some time, went there a few times, actually got married there, in fact, but then other times just would vacation there back in the days, back before kids and pets and concerns and worries. And we met a guy who lived out on the east end of the island, and the story that we were told several times by very seemingly rational people. I didn't talk to the guy himself. It was after I'd met him, I talked to another guy. I said, I met dude out there. He goes, you know his story. And I heard this story from a few people, which was in the late 80s. My man was sitting on the east end of the island on a little place overlooking a bay, and he saw a boat come flying through there at top speed, like a little cigarette boat, and he saw a guy driving the boat and another guy throwing things over the side of the boat, and then 10 seconds later a police boat came screaming after him. A boat with the flashing lights, and then both boats disappear, and he never sees either one again, and his curiosity gets the best of him. He goes out to the bay the next day or 2 days later, gets some snorkel gear, goes down. The water is like bath water. It's crystal clear.
Yeah.
And it's just big bricks of cocaine.
Hello.
A trafficker was on the run and dumping them. And this dude went down over the course of a couple days and brought all of it up to shore and then sat on it going, what do I do with it? Found somebody on St. Thomas that knew somebody who knew somebody, and for like cents on the dollar, street value, unloaded all this stuff. But it was enough for him to buy a parcel and build an entire house on the end of that island, which he did.
He got away with it. Beautiful.
Got away with it.
That's outstanding. Yeah, that would make me a little nervous. But yeah, there's that time that you sit there. Now I've collected these. I understand what's at stake. This is a felony. I'm out of country. What do you do? But he made a play, and the play worked out for him.
Lucky. That's some nervous nights though. At some point, I mean, hell, it's been 35 years, and if the guy's still living there, I guarantee you, he still hears a creaking sound in the middle of the night and is like, what is that?
That's the thing. You just would, while the house was built, it's that old Edgar Allan Poe, the knocking, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Below the floorboards, it would just sort of haunt you a little bit. I think I would probably, with the view from my beautiful new pad, I think I'd probably put that out of my mind quite well.
Well, Edgar, it's funny you say that because Poe's original working title for that piece of work was The Telltale Coke Spoon, and then he changed it to The Telltale Heart. So it all checks out. Hey, 92KQRS, one thing we're doing these days is we want to crown Minnesota's bestest, the bestest. Whose Bloody Mary is a bit spicier? Where are the tacos tastiest? Which gas station's coffee perks you up before work? You can vote right now for Minnesota's bestest at 92KQRS.com. A huge poll of all the best stuff Minnesota has to offer. I would recommend going to the website and doing just that. And we will share, of course, the winners with you sometime next week, I would imagine.
All right, I like it. I want to get back to the scar story. As we started talking this morning, got a lot of great calls about how you got your scar. Love to hear a good scar story for you this morning. From you this morning, 651-989-ROCK. That's the talk and text line. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for April the 18th. Good morning to you. Oh, it's, what's that old song? Starry Night? No, Starry Night. I'm sorry. Starry Night, Starry Day. We've been talking about scars, injuries, ridiculous situations we found ourselves coming out of with stitches or casts or splints. And man, have we had some phone calls today. There was the grandmother who broke her back slip and sliding with her 3-year-old granddaughter.
Amy, I love it.
Amy came in strong off the top rope. Slip and slide, and then they built some rocks at the end. They built a ramp out of rocks, and Amy went flying down. Again, this is a grandma with her grandchildren on the slip and slide, broke her back. And we've had a lot of contenders, but so far that one's still sitting in pole position for me. But if you have a scar or a break, just one of those war stories you want to share with us, feel free. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and text line. And Candace, correct me if I'm wrong. We've got a few people on hold right now.
Yeah, we have Will from Blaine.
Will, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
What do you got for us?
So I got a couple of weird ones. One happened in high school because somebody thought it would be funny to steal my shoe and go tearing off down the hall.
I'm already laughing. It was funny. It's always good to take someone's one shoe.
Oh, yeah, but the floors had just been waxed, and you can imagine as a kid how skilled you think you are at skating on your socks down the hall.
Sure.
But I wound up sliding into a group of lockers and getting a gash down the side of my arm.
Oh, yeah, you did.
So that one looked kind of weird.
Yeah.
But the one that I really thought worth calling about was the one that looks like a bullet wound, but it's anything but. I actually had a growth as a kid, and it got it removed, but... the stitches broke open while I was loading people onto rides at Valley Fair.
Okay, yeah.
So in the middle of, getting people loaded onto the monster, which is a giant octopus thing, all of a sudden blood starts pouring down my arm. Like, wonder what this is.
Nice. Nice.
Blood all over the kids.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's good. I had a cyst removed from my back, like on my right shoulder blade, years and years ago, and it looks like, and I have claimed that it is a bullet hole. It's like, oh yeah, I got shot there. It's like the Bourne Identity, Matt Damon. He's got that sweater with the bullet holes in the back. That's what it looks like when I'm wearing that thing. That's pretty good. Will, thank you for the call, brother. We appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate it too. Thanks.
You got it. I forgot about taking someone's shoe and running away. That was always great shtick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then it was every once in a while you had that friend that would take the shoe and then throw it out the window if you were tooling around. And that's how the one shoe ends up on the side of the road.
That's exactly
that's
right.
Some friend that thinks they're funny.
Yeah, and like I said, and it is funny every time. Candace, what?
Is it funny, though, Steve?
It is. It's funny. Yeah. It's funny at the time.
It's like pushing your buddy, and then he gets hurt, and it's still kind of funny.
Yeah.
Even if you have to put his testicle back into him.
Wow, we've really covered
Boys are dumb.
We've covered a lot of ground here today.
Boys are dumb. I wonder, there's a Deidre out there, and I wonder if, I was just thinking about her scar. I gave her a ride in high school on my Kawasaki. Said Kawasaki right there on the tailpipe where her leg touched it briefly. Yeah, she's in shorts and sandals and the whole thing. Wants to go for a motorcycle ride, and right there on her ankle, came back to school that fall. She's like, yeah, check out my scar. It said Kawa. Kawa.
That Brian Zepp burned me. I'll never get on the back of his Kawa again.
Oh, she did.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. Fair enough. It takes a lot more than a burnt ankle to run him off the Zepp trail. I guess so. Candace, who else have we got on the horn?
We have John from Colfax, Wisconsin.
John, good morning.
Morning.
What do you got for us?
Well, I got a whole bunch, but I can't contend with most of the ones you had. But gunshots, chainsaws.
Whoa!
Yours are gunshots and chainsaws?
Yep. And then the worst one was I was coming through a big, long, sweeping S-curve on my Harley one evening. Had her laid right down, dragging the pegs on the one side, and I hit a deer at Mach 9. Oh, yeah.
John. Oh, John.
And I went covered up my head, and I said goodnight, and I figured I wasn't going to make it, and got done tumbling. All they did was a little cut on my forehead, minor road rash on my hands, but I broke my leg between my ankle and my knee in 7 places.
Oh,
well, that's you get a good limp on a deal like that. You came out ahead. You've got a guardian angel, buddy.
I'm telling you, Brian, I really am, and got a pipe in the leg, and that was 20 some odd years ago. I'm now 63, and I can run and walk and do and.
Feel that sucker when it gets cold out?
A little bit, and that's usually when. And if I do too much,
so you've got that nice excuse. Sorry, honey, I'd love to help you out a little more around the yard, but it's the leg, I can't do too much.
That don't work.
Man,
I was stupid to do that. So get off your butt and get out and get helping. So, but I know you're right, guardian angel. I'm telling you some of the things I could tell you guys about, but we ain't got all day. So that's the best one or the worst one for me so far.
Good
well,
one.
Anytime you can say the word chainsaw and bullets and just walk right by those and keep going,
right?
You got a lot of good stories, John. Thanks for the call, brother. Hang tough.
Yeah. He undersold those when he got I can't compete. I got the chainsaw and the bullet, but this other one, man.
It's incredible. Candace, who else we got?
Dave from Clear Lake.
Dave, good morning.
Hi. I have a real funny story.
Oh, great.
I had a cyst on my back. I don't know if you can hear me.
We hear you loud and clear, brother.
Yep. I had a cyst on my back, and my daughter likes to pop pimples. So she decided to pop this cyst on my back and exploded on her face. And got her in her glasses and stuff.
God, I'm glad she had glasses on, but hopefully, she didn't gasp, did she? Her mouth wasn't open, I hope. Gross.
It was partly open, and she keeps saying, "Did that thing on your back fill up again?" I says, "Yeah, not yet, but when it does, we're going to videotape this one."
Oh, my gosh.
Pimple popper.
I tell you, that's pretty good one, Dave. Thanks. I just mentioned I also had a cyst on my back, and I had the same thing. No one burst. It blew open just on its own. I smacked it. I stood up over, I was like in front of the fireplace, and the corner of the, what do you call the thing over the fireplace? The mantle. The corner of the mantle caught it as I was standing up, and it led to it getting infected and then kind of exploding on me.
Oh, God.
On Super Bowl Sunday, the day Prince played the halftime show. Boy, I tie these memories together, don't I? And let me tell you something. From what that experience from what I couldn't see it. It was on my back, but I felt it, and I was in the shower trying to get it all off me. You don't want that stuff hitting you in the face. It did not smell great. That's all I'll say about that.
No, it's rotten, putrefaction, man.
It's completely insane. We have a slew of people wanting to share some stories with us. Let's gross out the final hour of the day. Who we got, Candace?
Wally from Brooklyn Center.
Wally, good morning.
I said
Morning, crew.
What do you got, brother?
Well, I was attending a wedding back in 2013, and they were kind enough to have an open bar. And might have partaken a little too much that evening. And then after the wedding party invited a bunch of us to go across the parking lot to the bar and close that down. So around about 2:30 in the morning, we went back to the hotel, and the bride convinced the front desk to open the pool up. And ended up diving into said pool and found out the whole pool was 3 foot deep. After I conked my head on the bottom, and boy, I woke up with a hell of a stiff neck the next morning, and tried to go to work the following Monday. And God dang! So I went to the chiropractor, and he said, "I'm not touching you. You need to go to see. You need to go get X-rays."
Yeah. A real doctor.
Long story short, it turns out I broke my neck in 2 places.
Oh my God, man! You know what? I contend that if you weren't drunk and had just kind of gone limp or whatever, you probably would have been paralyzed or something, man. That's just the difference. Drunk injuries, somehow you escape seriousness a lot of times just by not tensing up or the panicking in that last moment. Oh, man.
Boy,
did you get
100%.
did you get one of those big cages on your head that they do sometimes with broken necks?
I did not get the halo. I had what they call Miami J. So it goes around your neck and it goes all the way around your rib cage for 6 weeks. Every specialist I saw that night at Regions came in. They could not believe that I was able to walk in under my own strength, that I was able to squeeze their hands. They kept telling me I was the luckiest SOB in the planet, and I was just a dumb, ungrateful kid at the time. So I was like,
you know who's dumb?
Get the hell out of here.
You know who's dumb? The person working at the hotel that opens up the pool after hours to a bunch of drunks that just rolled in from a wedding party. That's a recipe for a broken neck. Damn.
Man.
Absolutely.
I tell you what, you are one lucky man. Like Zepp said, I've never heard about anyone diving into 3 feet of water and walking away. That is pretty outstanding. Thanks for the call, brother.
Thank you.
Wow. We had a family friend who did that, and he was, in fact, paralyzed. I mean, as shortly after high school graduation, same exact thing. Just thought the pool was deeper, and bam, that was it. Wally got lucky on that one. Candace, who else have we got on the horn?
Let's do Jeannie from St. Joseph.
Okay, let's. Janie, what's happening?
Jeannie.
Jeannie.
Hey, can you hear me?
We sure can.
Okay. Well, I'm going to share a story about being bit in the rear end by a dog, by a Doberman Pinscher.
Wow.
Oh, my God. So I'm out taking a nice little walk in our neighborhood, and I'm, walk by the guy with his dogs out there waving, just friendly. And then I turn around the corner, and all of a sudden I felt extreme pain in my right cheek. And it was just like startling, and I just kept walking. I'm like, did this just happen to me? And I got home and I looked at what I had experienced, and my shorts had teeth marks in it, and it hurt like heck, and it penetrated my skin and that kind of thing. So I went to my neighbor, and she said, you got to call the cops, because that guy's had trouble with that dog in the past biting a child. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And my husband's at work, so we called the cops, and he said, you have to go to the emergency room, and then I'll meet you there. So I am a nurse, so I went to the hospital where I work with people, so I had someone cleaning my wound and looking at me that knows me, so it's kind of like, great. And then the cops had to take pictures. The cop had to take pictures, and okay, that's humiliating.
Oh my God!
And then the day after pictures, there were some serious bruises. So it was just like.
And if it had only ended up in court, where a bunch of people would have gotten to see pictures of your bit buttocks, your rump roast.
Hey, it's big.
No. I didn't say it was big. I said big pictures, where they blow them up and they show them to the jury.
Yeah.
No.
Man.
And it never made it to court, and they had to euthanize the dog, and I felt bad because it was the dog owner's fault that he was off his leash thing.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's it bit you. It broke the skin. Yeah, right.
Anyway.
Man, that's one for the books for sure. Stay away from the dobes.
So
Thanks,
you don't
Jeannie.
show that scar off a lot at the bar when you're out drinking. Hey, I've got a scar. You don't whip down the pants.
Probably best.
Can I flash you my butt?
Yeah, that's it. We had thanks for the call, Jeannie. We had a mailman in Atlanta back 30 years ago. Burke, great dude, and his knee when the spring broke and suddenly he was wearing shorts, I could not help but notice his on both above and below his knee was just a series of old scars. And I saw him one day, and I'm sitting on the front porch, and he comes walking up with the mail. I said, "Dang, dude, what happened to that knee of yours?" And then I'm looking at it, and there's scars. It's like all around his kneecap, both sides, up, above, below. And he told me the craziest story I ever heard. That he was delivering the mail, and a woman opened her front door, not knowing he was standing there. Her Rottweiler lunged through the doorway and grabbed his knee hard and bit. And bit down, and the Rottweiler's jaws, which are strong as hell, and the teeth went into the bones in this guy's leg.
Oh, into the bones,
and wouldn't let go.
Sure, locked on,
and he fell down. This dog's shaking him, ripping locked down around his kneecap with its teeth. And he is losing blood and very, very quickly going faint. Like he's like, oh my God, I'm going to die here. The woman is screaming. She's kicking her dog. She can't do a thing to get the dog to stop. There happens to be a policeman on the block, hears the screaming, runs up the driveway, takes one look at the situation, pulls his gun out and shoots the dog dead right through the chest. Boom.
Well,
right? Got to do it.
Right. Yeah, got to do it.
Done.
Yeah.
And then now the woman's hysterical about that. It's a whole scene. Call the ambulance. They can't. The dog's dead. They can't get the jaws off the guy's leg.
What?
They pile him in the ambulance with the dog, a dead Rottweiler, still attached to his knee.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Get to the hospital, and they're like, well, the fact that the jaws are still locked on the leg is probably keeping him from dying, bleeding
so
out.
It wouldn't bleed out, right?
So it wouldn't bleed out. So they sever the dog head to leave it attached until they can get him into the ER. He tells me this whole story, and I am just blown away.
Yeah,
and
this is the
and I'm like, dude,
wildest
that's the
story.
greatest story I've ever heard. I can't believe it. And he's a great guy. Yeah, man, it was crazy. And he goes off. And about a year later, I'm talking to somebody a buddy of mine from Seattle, and I tell that story. And he goes, my mailman told me the exact same story. I go, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, I swear to God, my mailman told me. And then I like literally talked to several people, and over the years, a couple of, I heard about that happening once. It's an urban myth. And so either Burke is the one guy it actually happened to, or they're all just full of crap.
It's probably like an old softball injury or something like that.
Beer league softball injury. You slid into first because you're an idiot.
Yeah, he did the belly slide and dug his knees into the dirt.
Man, I wanted that story to be true. I was so happy when I still believed it, and then I just was left with just bewilderment and wondering what's real and what's not for the rest of my life.
There are mail carriers out there listening this morning going, well, there goes that story.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't use that one anymore.
We've got a few people on hold right now.
Okay.
Please, if you can, stay with us because these stories are just getting better and better and better.
I just remembered I got bit once, and I have that scar. Not from a dog. I'll tell you about that when we get back with all these callers. Please hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. We have spent the vast majority of the last 3.5 hours talking about scars and injuries and bizarre moments in our lives when we found ourselves racing to the ER, or in the case of one guy, not. His mom was just like, "Nah, you'll heal up on your own."
Walk it off.
And what we've learned is, boy, our listeners love to flirt with danger. A lot of phone calls. The KQ Talk and Text line today, 651-989-ROCK. Let's get right back to it. Candace, who we got?
All right, let's do Freddie from Brooklyn Center.
Freddie, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. I use that word loosely.
At best, yeah. What do you got for us, Freddie?
I fell 18 feet of concrete or scaffolding and landed on my side on concrete.
Oh, 18-foot drop, huh?
18 feet, 3 tiers.
Oh, man.
That's a real drop.
Got up and walked away like nothing happened, except for, I was sore and I bruised up really bad. And about 2 weeks later, blew out the top branch of my femoral artery, my right hip.
Oh, that's a big one.
67 staples later, and about 6 days in the hospital.
Oh, damn, cutting out. But we cut the 67 staples. That's a record this morning. We've heard, I think we got 20 in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But 67, they Frankensteined you back together. Yeah, you were cutting out there, man.
Freddie, thanks for the call, brother. Good to hear from you.
Yeah,
man, the hits just keep on coming. Candace, who's up?
Steve from Minneapolis.
Steve, good morning.
Yeah, is this Steve?
It is.
Steve, this is Mr. Benjaminson, Steve Benjaminson. I'm from North Dakota. I grew up on 35th and Park Avenue.
Okay.
Okay, at the age of 9, it was the week before my golden birthday. I was born December 9th, 1963. I'm 2 years older than you. You're 58.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, we got some snow. My neighbor, I was shoveling the driveway back in the alley there. My neighbor had got stuck right in front of my driveway.
Okay.
Had a little 14-inch, a little aluminum shovel. So I was getting him to get unstuck. My shovel, his tire had rolled over the driver's side of his shovel because I'm on the Park Avenue there side, the west side there. His tire rolled over my shovel, so I went into the house to get my mom. She come out of the house. She was pulling onto the shovel. I could see his speedometer says 42 miles an hour. It flew straight up off the tire, from under the tire, straight up into my forehead, gave me a scar 3 inches wide, the shape of a horseshoe. I literally bled from the top of my skull there, down through my face, all through my clothes, shirt, everything down to my feet. And my mom, she ran and got the towel. The towel was full of blood.
Yeah.
Now, this is just before my golden birthday, December 9th, my birthday.
Yeah, right.
And anyways,
10th birthday.
The guy had just got his car unstuck, and my mom put me in the passenger seat. He took me down Park Avenue to Mount Sinai Hospital, 1 block up from Franklin on Chicago Avenue. All I could hear the man say was, "Don't die on me, Steve. Don't die on me. You can't die on me." We got into the emergency driveway there at the Mount Sinai Hospital. I ended up walking out of the car with him, with the help, into the emergency room. They put 60 stitches inside, 61 stitches outside.
Oh!
I had no filling in my head for over a year. Had a bandage on my head, around the whole head, under my chin for 6 months, with no filling in my head for a year. I, to this day, have never had a headache in my life. I don't know if it was because of the nerves were all busted up in there, but the doctor, the guy that did the stitches, said if it would have got me under the nose, I would have been dead. If it had got me under the neck, I'd have amputated my head. I said, son of a bitch.
Wow. Yeah.
That's an appropriate response.
In December of 72, actually.
Yeah, right.
My sister, my baby sister, was born January 1st, 1972.
I wonder if you'd remember all this stuff if the accident hadn't happened. I just feel like you have one of these memories as a result of it, on the corner of 10th.
3 years old, we first lived at 2401 Harriet Avenue in the apartment 3, and came to Park Avenue when I was 4 and a half.
What was the phone number there, Steve?
Oh, God.
And my other sister, Leah Marie, my only 2 biological sisters. I only have 2 biological sisters, Leah Marie.
Right.
and May.
Yeah.
Leah Marie was born September 11, 65.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. She lived on the.
So I got her by almost a whole month. Ha! Steve, thanks for the call. That is one whale of a story.
Yeah, he's still talking out there somewhere. And it's great. Literally no after effect of getting hit in the head with that shovel. Lucky that they didn't have social services. Wasn't as a big a deal back then, right? So your mom hit you in the head with a shovel. No, yeah, that's what are the odds, though? Yeah, if the car's tire is spinning and the shovel's under there, best not to probably grab and pull on it. But an honest mistake. I love that. That guy knows the corner of the address of any place he's ever stood.
Pretty much.
And the date of everything, right? Exactly.
My brother Doug has got a scar above one of his eyes. He had his eyelid sliced open. He got hit in the face with a rock. Ouch. Because back in the 70s, we used to throw rocks at each other. That's what kids would do for fun.
We didn't have video games, you know?
No, hell no. He and my brother Dave were across the street in the backyard by the creek over there. You can imagine. It was a classic, suburban neighborhood creek running through our neighbor's backyard. Rocks on both sides, couple boys on one side, couple boys on the other, teeing off in a rock fight. Boom. He takes one right above the eye, and he's crying, he's bleeding. It's like his eyelid is gashed open. And as my other brother, so Dave is helping Doug back across the street and up our front yard, and I open the front door and see this, and I see Doug. He's obviously in pain. He's got a lot of blood on his face, and Dave screams, "Doug got hit by a rock." And I thought he said, "Doug got hit by a car."
Well, they
and
rhyme.
So I run in. I run into the den where my dad and my 3 oldest brothers are watching an Orioles game on TV, and I scream, "Doug got hit by a car!" And they are off their asses, charging to the front door, as you might imagine, at full speed.
Yeah, it's a very different reaction to getting hit by a rock.
Yeah.
They probably turn the TV up.
Yeah.
If you say that.
And there's Doug, and they run out, and they see him. "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And he's like woozy, and it hurts. And my dad is like, "What the hell happened?" And there's this confusion and freaking out. And my dad, because Dave and Doug are not thinking anything about a car, they're confused. And Dad says, finally, "Where the hell's the car?" And I don't have any information, but there happens to be a car at the stop sign. And I go, I guess it's right there. And my dad tears ass down our yard and all but pulls a man out of his car. Gonna beat him to death. And then finally Dave picks up on what's going on, and he's screaming, "No, no." And then my brothers are chasing my dad to say, "No, it wasn't a car." And so by the time eventually everybody settles down.
Sorry, buddy.
And then of course there's that moment when, and Dad finally goes, "Why the hell did you say?" And I'm like, "Oh, here it is. It's coming at me."
It occurred to him.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
Meanwhile, some gentleman got home that evening, and his wife said, "How was work today, honey?" "Well, work was fine. On the way home, a guy accosted me at the stop sign." I love it. Well, we're kids, we have those fantastic reactions and imaginations. I mentioned I remembered I have a scar from a bite. We're talking about, one of our listeners got bit in the butt by a Doberman. And but I've got here on my left arm a tattoo of an eagle I got on my 3-day pass after basic training. And there's a big bar fight in Aberdeen, South Dakota at the Lumberyard. I didn't start the fight. I wasn't too involved with it, but it's one of these good old-fashioned bar brawls. About 30 guys involved in this fight, and it's just fists of fury flying. And my buddy gets sucker punched, and I'm like, "Whoa!" And I grab the guy, and I might have punched him or whatever, but I'm trying to subdue him. And some guy just comes up and bites my frickin' shoulder.
Oh,
and
my
just
God.
latch. I'm like, "What in the?" So I punch him in the face.
Yeah,
and he gets done. But now I have this. You can see the top row of teeth. A nice, about semicircle of teeth right here in the top top wing of the eagle. That scar stayed there. Yeah, I took off the ink, so I got that.
That's
little
insane.
scar right
I
there.
bit a kid once. I got pinned on the playground, and I was face down, and I was about to be like eating mud. I couldn't move, and this kid, and he went to wrap his arm like around my throat, but it was just there long enough for me to get a big bite of his forearm, which I then immediately, of course, denied doing. Because it's not cool to bite someone if you're in a fight.
You're not supposed to bite, right?
And he jumped off and he was howling, and everyone's like, "You bet." I'm like, "No, I didn't." I mean, there's literal tooth marks in the kid's arm.
He hit my teeth.
I looked every one of those kids in the eye and said, "I did not bite him. How dare you?" Candace, who else have we got on the horn?
Rick from Monticello.
Rick, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Boy, you almost nailed my story before that. I got second grade playing Annie over at a guy's house, and he decided to throw a rock. Caught me right in the left eye, just square in the eye. So screaming in pain, riding my bike home six blocks to my house, sit out in front of their new color TV, say, "Hey, Mom, there's something wrong with the TV." So she looks at it, comes in the room, looks at the TV, says, "It's fine." Looks at me and went, "Oh, my God, what happened to your eye?" Well, we were playing Amy over, and Scotty threw a rock and hit me in the eye. So I ended up at the hospital. It's 2 weeks with my eyes, both eyes taped shut. The doctor says, "Well, you move one eye, the other's going to move." So 2 weeks flat on my back in the hospital. Feeling, they just nothing, didn't move. I don't think I moved at all. So finally, they take the doctor, the Band-Aids off 2 weeks later. "Oh, yeah, looks good. So he leaves. The nurse comes in and said, "Okay, now be careful. You haven't done much the last couple of weeks, so, you might feel a little weak." I felt like it was $1,000, man, to get those Band-Aids off. I'm going to run it, And, of course, hop out of bed, face plant. My legs hadn't moved for 2 weeks. I hit the ground, just right down. So I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, that's rough.
God dang.
Got ran over by a car in sixth grade, too. That was fun. So,
you're getting into all kinds of stuff, Rick.
Oh, yeah. Two years later, got hit by a car out on 101 in Otsego. And like Zepp had mentioned earlier, make sure you wear clean underwear, because in case you get in an accident.
That's right.
Yeah, that wasn't clean after I got hit by that car.
No.
Oh, man, yeah, Rick, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and that was even before I got hurt all the time when I was drunk. I mean, drunk arrest. That was not good. Totaled out a couple cars, drunk driving. So, yeah, there's another one of those, 60 stitches in the top of my head to close the wound. So, it's, again, got a guardian angel keeping me alive. So.
No question about it. Thanks for the call, Rick. I tell you what, there are a lot of people listening to this show who have no reason to still be alive.
I mean,
it's incredible.
We've talked about it before, what we got away with and how we grew up. The fact that, half of us have both of our eyes. I was just thinking about throwing the rocks until that got boring, and they came out with something called the wrist rocket slingshot. Remember that? Then we started shooting rocks at each other and BB guns shooting at each other. How about... We've had several messages this morning. Sorry I haven't gotten to more of these. Isaac here talking about the scar by his right eye playing hockey from the hockey skates, because everything's safe now, right? And rightly so. We have helmets on the kids with the cages, even when they go out on the pond. I know they don't always wear them, but... around the back lots or whatever, but most often they do. It's just a different mentality, but no one did back in the day. Isaac got his first one when he was 3 years old, when his father was teaching him how to skate out on the ice hockey. Dad got him near the eye with the skate. That was a long walk back to the house. Well, honey, what happened was one of those other little kids, but at 3. But yeah, you think about the hockey skates flying around, young kids, no
scary.
Helmets back in the day. And
no kidding.
Yeah, just lucky to get away with some scars, I guess. But yeah.
I think so. Candace, we got somebody else?
Yeah, let's close it out with Will from St. Paul.
Will from St. Paul. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning. How you guys doing?
We're awesome, brother. What do you got for us?
So, about 20 years ago, I was living with a guy right after I got out of treatment, and he had a younger daughter, just a few years younger than me. And I answered the phone one night, and it's her. She lives somewhere else, out in like Hastings or something. And out of nowhere, she says, "Hey, is my dad around? I'm like, no, he's not around. She's like, hey, you want to come over? I'm like, what? So I end up going over there, and we start getting busy. We're on the floor, hanging, getting ready to do the deal, and I kind of stand up and sit backwards on the edge of the couch, and there just happened to be a nail sticking right out the top of the edge of the couch there. Sat down right where it was, went right into my nuts.
Dad did that. Dad put that there.
It bent sideways, so when I stood back up, it ripped my nutsack open.
Okay. All right.
So then, I go home and I'm like, oh my God, obviously this isn't happening anymore because there's blood everywhere. I go to the ER, and of course I'm at St. Joe's, downtown St. Paul.
Yeah.
And which is no longer there, I guess. And of course, I'm sitting there in the thing, and all of a sudden the nurse comes in, and she's like, oh my goodness, okay. And then all of a sudden I hear all this laughing, and they're peeking through the little curtain there, and they're all looking at me, and it was so
Let's be professionals, please.
Wow.
Everything's safe, though. It's all good. Nothing happened major. Just got like 4 stitches. So
yeah,
nothing happened. Nothing happened other than you had a heart attack when you realized what had happened. Other than that, it was all good.
Yeah. Did you ever get back and finish the deal? Ever get back together with that young lady and round 2? No.
Nope, never did. That kind of just cut that right off.
Yeah, that's a mood killer for sure.
Yeah, it was never supposed to happen, I guess.
Yep.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised if Dad, pried a nail up there and just, set a trap for you, a booby trap.
Right on. Thanks for the call, Will. Glad to know you're all okay over there.
Yeah, you guys have a great day, man. Thanks.
Holy smokes.
The nail goes in the coin purse, then it bends like a hook and tears out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel uncomfortable right now.
I'm going to write a country song called The Legend of Nutsack Willie. The story has been told for many a generation up in Minnesota. Old Willie was looking for some action. Yeah, we could totally make that happen. Nutsack Willie. All of that to say, it's funny because we're talking. I mentioned my brother got hit in the eye with a rock, and then we had a caller who said I got hit in the eye with a rock. I took it wasn't a rock, it was just a mud clod, just like a big clod of mud.
That'll do it.
Did the same thing, and it didn't cut my eye or anything, but it hit my entire eye socket, so I got a shiner from it. I got a black eye.
Yeah.
And it was a kid named JR who lived up the street, threw it at me, and he landed the miracle shot. Gave me a black eye. I'm in 4th grade and JR is in 6th grade. So that's a violation. You know what I mean? 2 years older, there's going to be payback for that. You know what I mean? And if he had been my age, I would have had to deal with this. But I walked home little, tears, little sniffles, trying not to cry with a face that is really quickly turning into a purple and brown bruised mess. I walk in the front door. My brother, Dave, who's in 8th grade. So I'm in 4th grade. The guy that threw the mud clods in 6th grade, my 8th grade brother goes, what happened? He's immediately ferociously angry. Yeah. And I said, JR threw a mud clod. And before I finished the sentence, my brother Dave is out the front door and he is running at full speed up the street to JR's house. Yeah. And while he's running, he's screaming.
Rage.
He had a bit of a temper as a kid.
Yeah.
And this kid, JR, now we all knew him. He lived in our neighborhood, but we weren't friends. None of us had ever been in this kid's house until that moment when my brother ran up, didn't knock on the door or ring the doorbell. He just opened the front door of this house and ran inside the house.
Oh, boy.
And then
bold.
And I'm standing there and suddenly I'm not even hurting anymore. I'm just staring at my brother who runs up the hill in front of our house and he's 4 yards away and he just runs into this kid's house. And I'm like, something not good's about to happen. And then as we pieced together the events from my hysterical brother's take and JR's mother who showed up an hour later, this is what happened. He ran into the front door of the house. He saw a woman he'd only seen before in passing and he said, where's JR? And this woman's like, who are you? What are you doing here?
Yes.
And he looks over to the side and sees there's JR sitting in front of the TV with a bowl of ice cream. After school, ice cream, Gilligan's Island or something is on. What could be a more peaceful, happy part of your day? This kid is in his own home, in his own chair, eating his own ice cream, and my brother jumps on him and beats the living snot out of him right there, the whole time screaming, ah! Punch, 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 punch. The mom jumps on him, pulls him off. He turns and runs out of the house and then runs back home. So what I saw was he disappeared into a house. 21 seconds later, he came running back out of the house and ran all the way home. What happened in the middle was the story I just told. And, of course, once they settled down and this kid finally stopped crying and, now he also had probably at least a bloody nose, if not a black eye. Yeah. That woman comes down to my house and she's like, there's a crazy, she says to my mom, there is a crazy person in your home and he just beat my son up. And my mom, of course, is like, look at my kid's black eye. And then, they have their mom talk. And that's the last of it. And then it never came up again. It was just one of those things.
Good brother right there. I mean,
hell yeah.
Reckless, but good.
Well, I've said many times, I grew up like a mafia kid. I had 5 older brothers. If you touched me, you were getting hammered hard.
Oh, yeah. I had a younger brother. No one gives my brother a black eye but me.
But, trust me, I took all I could possibly have handled. I used to think, the outside world's the easy part. I just got to get through the day at the Gorman house in one piece. What are you kidding? Right. It kind of just reminded me of this offhanded thing. There's a neighborhood in Brooklyn called Carroll Gardens. It's right near Brooklyn Heights. Really nice old classic vintage Brooklyn neighborhood. And it's the safest neighborhood in New York City for street crime because a much older crowd lives there, and in the 80s and 90s, a lot of aging mafia dons and high up capos from the various mafia families, they moved their parents into this neighborhood.
I gotcha.
And so you saw, and when I lived in Brooklyn in the early 2000s, you'd still see, you'd walk into Carroll Gardens, and there's very nice shops and stuff, but you just saw tons of old people. It was just a lot of elderly people in the neighborhood. And there was a very famous story from the late 90s where some kid who didn't know where he was mugged an older woman and took her purse. And it was a mafia bigwig's mother that he did that to. And he was picked up later. Somehow they found it was him, and he was arrested, and he got processed, and they put him in the tank. And then within minutes, he was told, okay, you're out. And he's like, what do you mean I'm out? I say, someone just paid your bond. He goes, they did? He goes, yeah. And he walks out, and there's 2 dudes in really nice Italian suits, and they're like, hey, let's have a chat. And he's like, no, I don't know them. They can't pay my bond. And they left with their new friend, and that young man was never seen again.
I think I would have in the spot just confessed to a murder I didn't commit. No, you got to put me back in.
That's
killed a couple of people. I know where the bodies are.
It's pretty crazy stuff. All right, let's look back real quick. Quick. On this day in 1999, Wayne Gretzky, then of the New York Rangers, played his final game in the NHL. He scored a point. He got an assist that night. 2,857th point. He retired and of course remains and will forever be the NHL's all-time leading scorer. He still holds 61 individual records.
Wow. I mean,
the number 2 guy on that list, Jaromir Jagr, is 936 points behind Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
Anybody who has 936 points in their NHL career, you're one of the 100 greatest players ever. And that's the gap between number 1, Wayne, and number 2, Jaromir.
Yeah, there's one Hall of Fame hockey player between the number 1 and the number 2,
Yes, it makes it easy for the rest of us to go, who's the greatest basketball player? I don't know. Bill Russell's got 11 rings. Jordan went 6-0. Magic, blah, blah, blah. Who's the greatest football player? So many different positions.
Oh, boy, yeah.
We don't have to have that conversation with hockey.
Nope. That door's shut.
And if someone does have that conversation with you, just walk away. You don't need to listen to a word they say.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.